episode 12.
Doing numbers.
Doing
numbers.
Rookie numbers. Gotta pop them up.
Slow and steady.
So, how's your week been since we last recorded?
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty standard. What about you?
Yeah, not too bad either. Just editing the last one together. It'll drop very soon.
Very soon.
So let's get stuck in. I'm ready to pod today. I have like no topics, but I'm ready to pod.
So I have a few.
Okay, good. I was gonna say because even the music
It's not
drops
too much as
there was only
lately.
a couple things. Obviously we got that new Division single with Jagged Edge. Have you heard it?
I can't say that I have. Although I did listen to Beyonce's album.
Here we go. We'll get started with this. Finally.
Wins and losses.
Thoughts?
I thought it was a fun album. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, we kind of said last week, didn't we? Let me bring up the track list. Yeah, house music inspired for sure.
Heavily like dance house, but
disco in there.
But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was quite an easy listen. Obviously, I'm not someone who's like a Beyonce.
You're not in the beehive.
No. I can't say that I am. Like, nothing against Beyonce, but just
not the kind of music you listen to.
Yeah, like GOAT status, but
for like 3 decades now.
So respect to Beyonce.
This is definitely the album I've listened to most from her, because Beyonce is, like you said, like GOAT status just doesn't generally, like, there are the odd song on every album that I really fuck with, but
yeah, she has hits, but I feel like she makes music for the girls.
yeah, exactly. It's not really for me.
Yeah, which is
it's
like fine.
Other rappers, like I don't know, like a lot of the new crop of female rappers that have come out, I'm like, they make really good music, but like it's just not for me particularly.
Like subject wise.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it flowed really well. She did well with the sound as well.
Yeah, it didn't feel like she was just like, I've been around this long, what's the sound I haven't done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is sort of just like she clearly had an idea for this album and a concept where she was like, I want to make her like,
which
all
is weird. I do, like we said last week. I know we briefly talked about it last week, but I do find it is weird how like there's been like a resurgence of this sound, and it's like it is like, I mean, just from her and Drake, that's like 2 of the biggest artists making albums with this sound.
Yeah.
So I wonder why there's been like a resurgence.
Yeah, well, and like as I said, I think Weeknd's album as well had a lot of influence from similar places. Not so much house, but certainly like disco and like that 80s pop sound.
Yeah.
All of them have kind of, it's like across the broad spectrum of those, like techno and house and all these different genres, they're all picking from slightly different places. Like this album is very much like classic, like 90s house. A lot of the samples in places like
a bit disco-y as well, kind of like Dawn
for
FM.
Sure. I was gonna say in a way it reminded me more of Dawn than honestly Nevermind.
Yeah, definitely. Drake's was very modern deeper house.
Yeah, I was gonna say modern deep house, Afro house, like those kind of subgenres.
Yeah.
Rather than being as eclectic as like Dawn is in its influence, because like literally, like you'll go from like Gasoline, which is very like Depeche Mode influence, to like 80s Japanese city pop samples and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
it's very it's a certain decade and stuff, but like that's within that decade it's like everything, like everything under the sun. Whereas I feel like Drake was more just like house. What can I do to like merge it with my sound?
Yeah. Which I feel like is something Drake always kind of does.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's not really about using a sound to make something different within that genre. It's more like, what would a Drake album sound like if it was house?
Yeah, exactly.
Rather
Or
than,
like influenced by like Afro beats before that, or like anything, like, you know, any genre you can look at.
Or like literally every time Drake experiments, it feels like that. It's like, rather than, it's not a criticism, but rather than trying to like create something new with a sound, it's like, I was gonna say, I get what you mean. It's because like, I know we keep going back to like Dawn FM, but that isn't like a weekend album.
In the same way.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not like he just took House of Balloons and was like,
if this was house,
put a disco on
it.
it.
If this was like 80s inspired disco. It feels like he's taken the inspiration from that era and like made something new with it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what I think Beyonce's done here, where, you know, it is still her sound and that, like her style, I guess, more than sound. But it is filtered through that, all these eclectic influences, like you said, disco, house. As I said last week, I feel like some garage influence in some of the beats here.
Yeah, definitely.
You know. And yeah, I think she just made a fantastic... This might be my second favourite album of the year. Like, this is a fucking quality album. Like, the first time I listened to it, like, I couldn't stop. Like, I just went end to end and was like, wow. Because just normally the music she makes, as I said, I recognise its quality in that it's just not particularly my vibe. It's not what I'm going to listen to and stuff. Normally I just sort of pick out the songs I like, put them in my playlist, and that's that. Whereas this was literally, I was like, man, I don't know if there was a single song on here I was even kind of on. Like the flow as well really reminds me of Dawn, where each song kind of leads into the next. This doesn't have, you know, the concept that Dawn has. Way.
What was the two? There's that 2 tracks. Is it the one with the... There's 2 that flow like perfectly. I think it might be... Which one is it? Because there's one that's like a minute long. Is it Cozy? I don't know which one I'm thinking of. But there's 2 tracks that just energy into Break My Soul.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one of the best like transitions on this for sure.
But yeah, like you say, like it reminded me of like the transitions on Dawn.
Yeah. This is sort of, if you took Dawn and made it more for a dance club. You know what I mean? Like Dawn is, whilst that influence is in there, it's not like every song you could play on a night out sort of thing. Yeah. This is very much like, you know, I mean, I've literally seen like venues have done it where they just play the whole album. They've done like a club renaissance night.
But I think it does work. Like if it's like Dawn FM to me feels like an idea where it's like he's not really trying to be played in the clubs like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more of an idea and like a,
you know, it's sort of, he, as I said, it's more of a concept album than this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just quality wise, this is just some fantastic music. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is. I might have to switch sides and go to one of those club renaissance nights at GAY, because this album bangs. Yeah. This album slaps, man. I might have to
catch you with a glow sticks.
I'm there. But yeah, I just fucking love this album. The one thing I found funny is the second Heated came on, I was like, Drake wrote this. I knew like the everything about it, like the flow, the like the bars. I was like, this is definitely a Drake song, because I remember seeing that that when she released like not the track list, was the credits. I remember seeing Drake's name on there. But I'd kind of forgotten about it until that song came on, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
that is Aubrey Graham.
that's Aubrey." That I'm just as petty as you are line. I was like, "That's such a Drake line." I want to hear the reference track. I want to hear.
Yeah, for real.
Because there's like a hook. I looked it up, and like you can hear him singing the hook, but that's it. But yeah, no, fantastic. I would like Beyonce and Thames to make songs together where Thames isn't just shouting in the background.
For real, yeah. No, because no, just in general, I think like Beyonce, she would work well with a lot of like the newer female artists.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, she's still very in tune with like what's going on with music.
Yeah, and it doesn't, in a way that doesn't feel forced, because sometimes you see like some of these artists where they collab with like the up and coming generation, and it feels a bit like when Kanye did it.
I was just about to say, yeah, when he was like featuring with Lil Pump. And
yeah, like all of them, like they were all bad choices. I feel like he made. Whereas someone like Beyonce or Drake does it a lot. I didn't compare her to Drake in that sense because I feel Kanye's more comparable in just terms of how long they've been around. Like Kanye is shorter than Beyonce. Obviously, she's been around way longer, but he's sort of closer in her bracket than Drake is, because Drake's still quite new technically. Like he's been around just over a decade, so I can believe that he, it's easy for him to keep up with newer artists, where someone like Beyonce, someone like Kanye,
or Jay-Z even.
Yeah, Jay-Z, it must be a lot harder because, it's just not, number one, age bracket wise, they're just not comparable, like that sort of thing. And I mean, someone like Jay-Z, I think, just doesn't really collab in the same way with newer artists. Jay-Z just sort of, he works with the goats at the end of the day. Like, he'll give Pusha T a verse. He's not going to give fucking, I don't know, the baby a verse, is he? Like, there's just sort of a difference there. Whereas, I suppose Beyonce is kind of similar in a way, because she doesn't do a lot of collabs.
No.
Obviously she did that Savage remix with Meg. But that's all I can think of. I think.
But I think they definitely they do have to be pickier with their features. Like just as to not to dilute like their music in a way. Like Kanye, I don't know. Like Kanye's Kanye. He's kind of like an anomaly.
I was gonna say he just does whatever at the end of the day.
But him, not like Kanye doesn't, but like Jay-Z and Beyonce have like such a stretch of like a legacy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If they did a Kanye and like had a couple of shitty features with like Lil Xan and you'd like, it would stain their legacy.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like a seal of approval. If you get a verse from Jay-Z, it must be for a reason.
Yeah,
I'm not being funny. Like, he doesn't just normally give an artist a verse. Same with Beyonce. Like, if she's on your thing, it's gonna draw eyes to it. Like, I mean, obviously she doesn't drop as much music now, but I feel like Rihanna is gonna be in the same spot where if she collabs with anyone, people are immediately gonna expect it to be someone. Yeah, Rihanna can't just collab with whoever.
Yeah, even more so with her. She just never drops music. I
think that's what people's problem with that party feature was where it was just sort of like random. It was clearly an old song. It wasn't like Rihanna's comeback. It was clearly an old song that he hadn't put out.
And like they clearly collaborate a lot.
Yeah,
like, it made sense for him to be like given approval.
Yeah,
put
exactly.
That song out.
You know what I mean? It sort of felt like a leftover from like Anti or something that he just had on his hard drive and, was like, oh, I guess I'll put this on my album because it'll get,
Rihanna feature.
Yeah. But it didn't feel like she was coming back and making her like...
No, because at the end of the day, she was just like doing the hook.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, no, like I said, it was a good listen. Easy listen.
Yeah, has that break my soul every time. I've heard it a couple times in the club now, and I love it. It goes off. Everyone's like, hey, because I remember when it dropped, people were sort of like, what is this? Where we didn't know what the album was yet. Personally, I thought it was a banger from first listen. I was like, this is a tune. But I can see why some people were like, what? Like, because it's such, number one, that's the most high profile sample on here, right?
Yeah. I
feel like that everyone, I don't even know the name of the song, but the beat is so recognizable that like you hear that all the time. If someone's playing like a generic house set, you're gonna hear that song
at some point.
So I wonder if some people were just like, what, of all the samples you could, not realizing she was going for that house sound.
Well, I think that's what it was though, weren't it? It's like Beyonce, like we don't really get a consistent stream of music.
Yeah, exactly.
So first single you hear, it was like a house sampled song. You're gonna be a bit like, really?
I was gonna say it's sort of the opposite of Drake, where we get so much Drake music so regularly. I can't really get upset if an album's weaker, because I'm like, in a year or two, I'll have a new one.
But like for Beyonce, she
exactly.
could never drop.
I was gonna say, like, this this streak she's on feels like it's gonna be a retirement of, at least in terms of like how Jay-Z's retired, where it's like, I'm not working on new music. Like if I work with someone and we click, that's one thing, but I'm not sat planning my next album. He's sort of like, I'm not saying I'll never do an album again, but I'm not working on an album in any sense. And I wonder if this is Beyonce transitioning into that, where because this is Act 1, right? And so I assume we'll get Act 2 and Act 3. Whether they'll all be albums or whether it will be sort of like Act 1 is an album, Act 2 is a tour, Act 3 is something else. I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited for whatever she's working on. The visuals, But where are they? She did that little like teaser video. I was like, cool. I'm never gonna complain about having to look at Beyonce. But yeah, just a great album. That what are your sort of faves, I suppose, before we move on?
I really like Cuff It. Obviously, that's one of the bigger ones off the album.
Because what is the most streamed on this? Oh yeah, Cuff It, Break My Soul, Alien Superstar, Energy, and Summer Renaissance. Sort of the top 5 on Spotify, whatever that means. I don't know if that tracks with like what's charting or not, but
yeah. But yeah, no, I was.
I'm gonna say Cuff It's a good one. I do like Heated. I think that is a banger. I like Virgo's Groove a lot. That's the most disco-y song on here. That makes me feel like I should be like...
bit more of a throwback sound.
Yeah, like I should be like rollerblading with like flare pants. That Heated, and I quite like All Up in Your Mind. It's a bit...
Yeah. Alien Superstar as well, I thought was...
Yeah, the only thing I found distracting there was that sample, where we've heard it so recently with Drake. It was a bit... it's a great song. I see why everyone loves it. I'm just saying, for me, every time I hear it, I'm like, it's weird. Like you were saying, where it's weird how everyone's suddenly on this house sound. I was like, I've not heard that song sampled, and I heard it back to back in like 2 massive songs. Because like, Way Too Sexy is probably one of the biggest songs off CLB.
I mean, yeah, like it did numbers just because of like the music video.
Yeah. And the features in it, like every time Drake and Future collab, and especially when you throw Thug in there as well. Although low key, you didn't need Thug on that song.
No, to be fair,
credit to but nowadays I'm grateful to have all the Thug music we have. I'm just saying, I'm like, this song is over, and then Thug's like, no, I'm still here.
They set him up with the placement of his
Yeah,
verse.
and he should. I wonder if he should have opened it because number one, he has the weakest verse by far.
Yeah, no.
And just like it's a lot slower than the other two.
Well, it's like the song ends and then he comes in with like, I don't know.
It's a bit like who's after Drake on the Migos song Walk It. Whoever they put after Drake, it's like the song's over, man. Like, I'm sorry, no matter how good your verse is, like.
Yeah, it's the same thing there, ain't it? Is it Takeoff?
I think it's Takeoff. Yeah, because he's the one not on Bad Do It's him because it was like, again, you've set Takeoff off.
Nah,
Takeoff up again. Are they due a comeback?
I think they're done though, ain't
I
they?
think they're done.
Like Offset's gone solo.
Got one good album.
One good album.
Half a good album.
Yeah, there's like a handful of bangers on Culture 2.
How long is Culture 2 again?
It's quite long.
Hour and 45. Yeah, I ain't trying to hear that. I didn't even hear. I heard like the Drake song, and that might have been it.
About Culture 3.
Yeah, off Culture 3, I'm talking about. That might be the only. Whereas Culture 2 had bangers because that's where Stir Fry comes from. Right? Yeah, Narcos, Toolkit, Stir Fry. Is there one with... Yeah, Post Malone's on there. There's a couple, like you said, a handful of bangers, but Culture 3, literally just the Drake song. And even then... Oh, and Straightening's on there, isn't it?
Yeah, Straightening's on there.
But that's it. Let's be real. And even then, the Drake song isn't... I don't know.
It's not hitting like it could have.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Migos just missed the whole point with what everyone liked Culture 1. It's like, here's 11, 12 tracks.
Because Culture 1, it's like a modern classic.
No, but like...
Influence.
Yeah.
That Atlanta sound that it like blew up. Like...
But there was a reason why everyone liked it. It was like... It was long enough where it's like, you got everything you would ever need out of Migos. Like, any longer than that...
Yeah,
like
58 minutes is as long as you need.
It's the perfect length. Because after that, it's just like, how much can they like talk about?
I'm not they're not like deep rappers, but
like,
they're not even like super versatile. Like, obviously, I feel like the main comparison to them is Ray Shremmerd, right? Because it's a group that sort of came around the same time, had a similar thing where their early projects are like iconic and that, and it sort of feels like they've struggled a bit. They've gone solo and this and that.
Yeah.
I feel like...
But it's just, at least with Ray Shremmerd, I get why, like, Ray Shremmerd tried going solo for a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, people...
And just they've made more good music. They have 2 amazing albums. Migos have 1.
True. But Culture 1 is, like, top tier.
And you don't think Shrem Life 1 is?
It is. I don't know if I think it's better than Culture, though.
I'll take Shrem Life over Culture. But I understand... picking Culture over it. Because like Migos, like, I prefer Ray Shremmerd's sound anyway. But especially when you put Culture 2 versus Shrem Life 2 in there.
There's no comparison.
Even Shrem Life 3 versus Culture 2. There's more bangers. 3, yeah like because at least the Shrem part of that and like 3 of the songs on Sway Lee's bit are like bangers.
Yeah.
Whereas Culture 2 like has like 4 bangers.
Like Migos like ran like 2016
absolutely
like, single-handedly.
I just
it's a shame.
I think the thing is with them, they're just not a very versatile group in the same way.
Yeah,
as
but
others.
they just, I don't know, like then they like all dropped a solo project and all of them were shit.
I ain't trying to hear Migos solo. I'm sorry. Even Quavo, I know people gassed him up, but I ain't trying to hear Quavo on his ones. Offset and Takeoff as well. Like I don't know.
Offset thinks he's like...
He bad Cardi B.
What a dub.
I'll never get over him spelling New Orleans as New Orleans.
New Orleans.
That will haunt me till the... as I'm dying, that will cross my mind. Like, I won't get over that. Yeah, no, Migos. I don't know.
Listen,
As I said, they're so influential. I just don't. I feel like, yeah, they just. It might be over.
I think they are
Like
just from what's.
I can't visualize it right now. The comeback.
No. I mean, they'll never hit. I don't think they'll ever hit.
You're saying
The
everything
heights
they've
of
dropped
culture.
has been all ass.
Oh, ass. Oh, ass. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's just Culture One. It was just perfect. It had like everything you needed. Like they all complemented each other so well.
And there's so many bangers on there.
Yeah,
Like there's
it's pure bangers.
yeah.
And then like it's just, I feel like they just tried doing too much. It's like, let's make how many songs is Culture 2? Like 20 songs or something? 24 songs. You can't tell me anyone on this planet is like listening to a 24 song Migos album in one sitting.
That's the thing.
Like,
There's very few artists, even like across all genres, that can make a 24 song album and have me listen.
and it's all like, there's not like at least a few songs that are just shit.
I was gonna say, where I'm not
24
gonna
songs.
probably cut out like half the album realistically, where like half of that half will be bad and the other half will be like, oh okay, but I'll probably listen to it once and forget about it.
Yeah. 24 songs.
24
man. That is a lot.
So you didn't listen to the game's like 30 song album?
I don't know what's like I don't know what the game's problem is, but he needs to calm down. Because I've been seeing him talk a lot of shit lately.
He put them glasses on and thought he was like, I don't know what. He thinks I have any care in the world about what he has to say.
He needs to relax. Like I'm all for like bashing modern Eminem, but you can't be coming out and saying like
you're not a fan. Did Eminem drop something recently? Did he do like a deluxe?
He did like is it like Curtain Call 2 or something? It was like a compilation album.
I was like, what the hell?
But it was just like greatest hits.
Oh, it's just the greatest hits.
Yeah, is it Curtain Call 2 or was it?
Yeah,
Curtain
no, it
Call
was
2.
because Curtain Call's the one where what's it called? It comes from the Modern Warfare 2 song.
What, back
Till
down?
I Collapse.
Oh,
That's
Warfare 2.
from Curtain Call, right? Or is that the Eminem show? That might be the Eminem
I
show.
think that's the Eminem.
You're right,
show.
it is. Because it's the red.
Yes.
Yeah, with the curtains, yeah.
Yeah, Curtain Call 2. I don't know who asked for that, but
You didn't. The Eminem Show Expanded Edition. What the hell? What did he add to this? Jesus Christ. Like 6,000 songs. Oh, instrumentals and stuff.
Till I Collapse.
That's all you need.
Yeah, Eminem, I don't know. Fell off.
And then some. He fell off so hard, it's like hard to listen to his old music for me.
Same.
Which might be like betraying the white race, but like, I'm sorry.
It's like if you look on Spotify and you see me listen to Eminem, it's like, is he alright?
Genuinely, like,
I feel like Facebook, like mum, where it's like listening to like Eminem. It's like,
I don't like rap music, but
But
Eminem is
Eminem-
very talented.
it's like, oh,
It's because he doesn't rap about the same thing. He's not rapping
Yeah.
about money and jewelry and women.
it's always the same.
Instead, he's rapping about like murdering his girlfriend,
raping his mum.
yeah.
It's always the same argument, isn't it? You always hear that guy where he's like, I only need to listen to Eminem. Like, we did it once and we got it right. Like,
But your boy Jack Harlow's the new Eminem, right?
listen, Eminem fell off, but there'll never be like another white rapper. That's
So
on his
they'll
level.
have like the influence.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not being funny. Like, I guess Mac Miller, maybe.
Yeah, and
even then, I think a big part of that, not in a rude way, is because he died. Like,
yeah, it it gave him a lot.
I was gonna say, because before that he was like a niche underground artist.
Yeah.
Like he's like a Jid.
Don't get me wrong,
comparing
like-
to. Like that tier of where like people
Yeah.
that into rap know him and go, oh yeah, he makes bangers, but it's not like
No, he was nowhere near. Like,
He's on the radio
He'll never
or
be
anything.
like Eminem's level.
yeah,
I like. That's not a bad thing. Like his music is good.
he's not gonna be in a Call of Duty trailer. That's what you're saying,
Yeah. I mean, Eminem had like what 3 CODs?
mate. He because MW2 did the trailer where it's just the beat of Till I Collapse, where it's like that, dun, dun, and he has like the Predator.
But then he's in Black Ops 1.
And then then he does the soundtrack up to Ghosts.
Yeah.
I remember.
He was on the
I'm
roll.
a survivor. Oh no, wait, that's a different song.
That's Beyonce. It's alright, man. You're stuck on Beyonce.
That's all I think about now. All I think about is going to GAY and listening to Club Renaissance back to back. Yeah, but I think that was it, right? After Ghosts, I don't think he did Advanced Warfare.
No, because that's
Spacey.
Yeah. That's the era where he like started falling off. Where he was like,
what do you mean? He never fell off. Music to Be Murdered By is top 10 greatest albums of the past 5 years.
See, he is like an example of like what you don't do to your like legacy.
Yeah,
it's where you just keep shitting out music, even though people are telling you it's bad. It's like you could have just stopped, and everyone would have like.
Well, and like, don't try and keep up. Like the thing I respect about Jay-Z is he's like, no, I'm gonna make like music where I'm like older.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it gets club play or radio play or anything. Like, this is just me sitting back, relaxing, rapping, like telling you what's going on in my life. That I'm cheating on my wife, worrying about my family falling apart.
I think the issue with Eminem is like why he couldn't do that is because his music was like always
immature.
Yeah, no, but it was though. Like
that's the appeal. Isn't it? Slim Shady is immature. Like that's,
and it's so like early 2000s. Whereas like Jay-Z is more. It's gonna sound like cliche, but like his music is more timeless. Where it's like
easy.
You know, it's classic hip hop that could like work in a number of different eras.
I forget he comes out and like Biggie and Tupac are still alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't. To me, he's so influential. Like I'm not being funny. If I'm not really a rap connoisseur, I'm not going to pretend I am. But if you like put a gun to my head and were like, who's the GOAT in terms of like influence, output, and that, I don't think anyone can really go up against him because he's just been around so long. It's a bit like if you did it with pop music. Realistically, no one is clearing Beyonce, I don't think. Because she's still dropping and still is as influential as they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's hard to argue.
The only good word anyone had to say about Khaled's album was the Jay-Z feature that I haven't heard yet. That's apparently like 4 minutes long. Like, I'm not being funny. There's not many artists that can do that. Like realistically, who from the 90s is still relevant? In any genre, to be fair.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, either way, his name would have to be mentioned.
Yeah,
but like
if you did like a Mount Rushmore type thing, where it's like who's the
you'd
foremost influential, you couldn't not put him on there.
Yeah, and then it's, but like we're saying, it's just on the other hand with Eminem, it's like I remember like when that he dropped a song. I can't remember what song it was, but he like called Tyler the Creator, like
yeah.
The F word. And it's like. You know, he can't do that anymore. Like,
exactly.
He just can't. Like, you still have, like, his fans that are like, oh, Eminem, that's Eminem, though. Like, he can say what he wants, but he can't really. Like...
Well, I'm just like... There's a difference between playing a character, like Slim Shady, or, like, if you want to compare it to more... Like, you know, what Kanye did on Yeezus, or... Doesn't Tyler even do that on songs? Where he's, like...
Or, like, Igor is, like, a...
I was going to say...
You know what I mean? That...
You know, it's not super common, but artists do that where they sort of have a character where it's like... I mean, The Weeknd as a whole is like a character. It's not like him, Abel is The Weeknd.
Well, like J. Cole more recently did it on like...
Yeah, of course, with Kill Edward, didn't he? Yeah, like... I think the thing there is...
Or Kendrick, like...
Yeah.
Kung Fu Kenny, K-Dot, like they're all meant to be like...
different aspects and stuff. But the thing with that song is that Eminem wasn't playing a character. That was just him. And it kind of pulled the mask off where you're like, oh, Slim Shady isn't really a character. It's just sort of you, but like a bit more unhinged.
But the thing is, like, I don't even think he like agrees with what he said. I feel like he was trying to play back into that character to get like hype again. It's like, oh, like Slim Shady's back. Like,
do what he likes.
He's still saying all this shit.
Say what he likes.
Yeah, like I genuinely think it was that. Like, I don't know, just because he hasn't had, in my opinion, he hasn't had a good album in like 10 years.
And the thing is, he's dropped a lot.
That's
Like,
We've had like 3 or 4 albums from him.
he is my nightmare scenario of what Kanye becomes as an artist, where it's like Kanye keeps dropping music and it with no like thought behind it, sort of just trying to prove the haters wrong,
which is exactly what like Eminem keeps doing.
Yeah, that's like that to me is like the problem with Eminem, is it feels like he like takes criticism really personally and like can't like move past it. He definitely DM'd Fantana, "Your existence is a light one" as well.
What was that about though? Drake was pressed.
He was sat down getting his hair braided and was like, "Oh, a new Fantano video." And he clicked on it. He was like, "Not good." What do you mean not good?
I love how like it shows that he watches Fantano though. So
I don't know why anyone pays attention to that man. Honestly, I'm sorry. Like, shout out to him for like the career and influence he has, but like his opinion of music is just bizarre to me.
Yeah, and
I don't get why anyone cares. Like, I'm not being funny. If I was an artist and he called my music shit, I'd be like, bruv, you gave House of Balloons a 2.
He's got,
I don't care.
He's got so many out of pocket.
I was like, you gave Fantasy. What does he give it? I
think a 7.
7, like, come on.
But like one of Little Pump's tapes, he gave like an 8.
Not being funny. Like, as I said, shout out to him, but just I don't have like a personal beef with the guy. He's not Jack Harlow, but
yeah. But it's his fans more than him, because they they're like, your album cannot be good unless he gives it a good rating. Like, so now it's like fan base
and it's like he is the voice of like the sort of, I don't know what you call them nowadays. Back like the hipster crowd of music. You know what I mean? They like a very specific type of rap.
Yeah. And
it's like, I don't care what those people think. You know what I mean? They're the Camp Flognor type crowd. Like, as I said, I don't have like a personal dislike. I just don't know why people care.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sort of wraps up most of the new. I want to mention a couple of things that dropped. The Weeknd's new artist dropped. I assume her name is pronounced Chxrry 22.
Chxrry 22.
Yeah, it's like got an X in it. She dropped an album. She's sort of that, or not an album, like an EP. She's sort of that, like post Summer Walker, like toxic female R&B mixed with like the Toronto sound. I think she's super talented. I am really excited to see, because I really fuck with that project. I'm super excited to see where she goes.
She signed to EXO.
Yeah, and EXO has like needed some life pumped into it, because Black Atlas left recently. Obviously before him, 88 Glam left. So it's really just sort of been Belly and Nav. And Belly doesn't drop particularly. You know, obviously he talked about Mumble Rap 2. Belly announces shit all the time. Until I see it, I don't really believe it. And Nav...
Nav's just Nav.
Yeah, I listened to like 2 songs off his new album and was like, sounds like a Nav album.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't even bother with his album.
Yeah, I just listened to the features that I liked. The Bryson one is quite cool. Just is like totally overshadowed by the single Bryson dropped anyway, and I forget what the other song off there I heard was. But I was literally like, yeah, sounds like I don't need and it's a long album as well, I swear. Really? I was like, I don't need this many songs of Nav. You know, I like Nav more than most people, and even then I don't like love him. Sort of every project since the first 2 I've liked like 2 songs off of. Drake was supposed to be on the album.
Yeah, I saw that, but he took it
52
off.
minutes. I ain't trying to hear 52 minutes of Nav. I'm sorry.
But he basically admitted that Drake would have overshadowed the whole album. Well, he did admit it. No.
Yeah, ironically, the most talk I heard about that Nav album was about how Drake wasn't on it.
Yeah.
I do understand, though, sort of like Nav is quite a big artist, but as a smaller artist, you don't want to end up in like a Block Boy situation where it's sort of like,
yeah,
that's the song everyone knows.
But it's like Nav is I mean, he has a fan base.
That's the thing.
So it's not like, oh, what's that? Drake's New Eyes. That fucking
Smiley.
walking my clothes.
Smiley.
Yeah, Smiley.
I heard that song came on shuffle the other day. It started, and I was like, "This is a banger." Why? Because Drake starts it, innit? I was like, "Man,
Yeah.
why don't I play this song more?" And then Smiley came in, and I was like, "This is why."
She walking my jeans.
How is he on OVO?
I don't know. He has some dirt on Drake that he doesn't want him.
Because like OVO has one of the best labels out there, in my opinion, and like you have to ignore that Smiley's on it.
Yeah, because he just brings down the ratio, like.
Because you're like, man, Division, Popcorn, Party, Majid, and Smiley.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Wowzers. She like my jeans.
Drake has an interesting taste in music.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more or less all the new music I believe that I can think of.
I know Cudi dropped his album, which is like doubles as a soundtrack. Yeah. Intergalactic. I started listening to it, but like not enough for like an opinion. I just heard the first 2 tracks.
Oh, right.
Which like sounded decent. But
and this is his last album.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently he's gonna take a step back from music after this.
Yeah, he said like the Kid Cudi thing, sort of, which I understand, like, because he's gone beyond it now. He's done this movie with Netflix. Like, I get it. He's on Republic as well. I did not know that. Interesting.
I don't know, like with Cudi,
it's also hard to believe what he says because he changes his mind a lot.
Yeah, but also like I don't really have like a strong feeling about him taking a step back from music. Like, because realistically, either way, I don't think we're ever gonna get like a Kid Cudi Ghost 2.
Yeah,
I know like the main one that was teased was like the Scots. We were meant to get that. And like, I would like to hear what that would have been, like him and Travis, because I feel like
the 2 songs they have together are good.
Yeah, and I feel like as a duo they would actually put effort into like a joint tape.
For sure. I mean, Travis is such a Cudi fan. I don't think he would half-ass. Maybe that's why it never came together. Is he was like,
probably, yeah,
the music isn't up to the quality that it needs to be for him. You know, as a Cudi sort of disciple. I can see why. Yeah,
definitely. I think in a way, like it's slightly disappointing the way it's gone recently for like Cudi, where like he's kind of just like
shit on him.
Yeah, which has like affected him in a negative way. His fan base have just like swarmed him as well.
Yeah, well, and also like I can't imagine what it's like having someone as almost like a mentor turn on you, or you turn on each other. Like that must be some kind of mental toll.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Going from such a close working relationship back and forth so many times.
And I wonder if that's played a part in like his decision to, because before this, there's never been like a strong feeling from him that like he's fed up with making music.
Yeah.
Because like in like the past few years, musically, he's been like bigger than he's ever been since like the first 2 months.
I was gonna say he sort of had a resurgence.
Yeah, definitely.
Because for ages it was like a joke, like Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah.
Like post. I mean, even kind of post Man on the Moon 2. That's sort of what he is. You know, when he does that rock album and stuff like that, I feel like everyone's sort of like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. But then, like recently, obviously Kid Cudi Ghost.
Kid Cudi Ghost sort of brought him back, and then you have Man on the Moon 3 that people fucked with a couple of songs off that,
and just the features.
Yeah,
that he was.
Like the Scots was a massive song.
So it is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever any artist like that says, "I'm done," you're sort of like, "Oh, that's a shame."
Yeah.
But like you, I didn't have a strong. Wasn't like no. I was just sort of like, okay.
I'm happy with what we have musically from him. Like,
Has
I'm
a good
not
body of work.
screaming, like for like another Cudi album. And I still need to watch the show and listen to
Same.
the album from that. So.
I didn't realise it was out, so I will definitely look into that. But yeah, I mean, sort of music-wise, that's it for me. Unless you have something you want to mention.
Don't think so.
Cool. Then, what have you been watching recently?
So I think the main one, like the one everyone's been on, is this new Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah, Netflix show.
Oh, it's a show. It's not a movie.
No, I thought it was a movie as well until I saw it on Netflix, and I was like, oh, it's a show. For some reason, I just thought it was gonna be like shit. I was like, I don't know, just where like Ryan Murphy's been with like American Horror Story and that. I was like,
Yeah,
he's basically
and
shitting
people
out
didn't
projects.
Fuck with the second American Crime Story.
Yeah, so I was like, this is probably gonna be a bit whack, but I was surprised. I understand it's like a sensitive thing to be making a show on, but it's pretty good from like a television.
Yeah. As in a vacuum,
Yeah,
it's a well-made show.
it is. Yeah,
Is what you're saying.
it's pretty accurate from like what I can tell. Like Evan Peters is like great. Like he's really good.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah, but like he's like, if you like watch a Jeffrey Dahmer, like one of the interviews of him, he's like, the mannerisms and everything are like
right,
like really good.
He's sort of like Paul Dano, where every time I see him in something, I'm like, this guy's gonna be a creep.
Yeah, they're just like born to play serial
Play it
killers.
really well.
Yeah,
Like a creep that will really get under your skin. Just what kind of weirdos are gonna be in this? Or the guy that he plays Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad.
yes, the one that's
Him.
from Dark Knight.
Yeah, and
Yes.
he's in Prisoners as well. Every time I see him, I'm like, what freak is this guy gonna play now? What weird societal rejects.
I will say, like, I'm surprised that like apparently no one knew who Jeffrey Dahmer was and what he did.
Yeah,
Like, just from what I'm seeing on like socials, it's like people are only now realizing he was like a fucked up guy.
Yeah.
Which is
I've
was
seen a lot of
surprising to
that,
me.
and like, you see that tweet about wait till this generation finds out about John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, but he's in the
Oh, is he?
like briefly they like show one of his killings.
Because like, and then I saw that comment that was like, people are talking about serial killers like they're characters that show up later in an anime, like in the manga.
Yeah,
Like
generally.
manga readers
Yeah.
being like, oh, wait till this character shows up.
It is kind of like that though, because I'm like 90% sure we're gonna get like a ton of these shows now.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it's
This
like-
is like the 5th biggest show ever.
It's like massive though, like, and I know again like it's just,
Which is how I know you're all frauds and liars on Twitter.
right.
Oh, I won't watch this.
Nah, everyone's banging it.
No fucking leg to stand on, the lot of you.
But we're gonna get one of these shows for like every major serial killer now, where it's like reenactment. A famous actor is the killer.
Yeah.
He also has to be like attractive, so like
Yeah. So
there's
people
this
can
weird
thirst over
fantasy.
him. Yeah.
for like,
And you're like, this is.
because I clocked it like Zac Efron plays Ted Bundy as well.
Yeah.
It's like, why are they always choosing these like, you know, these like all these guys that these teenage girls like fantasize of?
Because I get that in real life some of that did happen, where like
I know. Yeah.
but like the guys themselves weren't paying.
No, like
It's why I find it kind of weird. They're making their sex appeal to a very small minority of people, like their character trait. Like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy wasn't like a heartthrob. It was like a small group of weirdos that were attracted to him. So it feels weird when you make the Ted Bundy film to be like, we're gonna make him a fucking sex icon.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
There's a lot, like you said, like with. But I mean, that's Ryan Murphy's approach to everything.
No,
it's
true.
like, let's
yeah.
sex it up.
Yeah, which is like that's his style. I get it.
Yeah, and like even in the stuff from him, I like OJ. Like he's guilty of it there too, to some degree, with a lot of the characters. It's almost like I enjoyed that. I have to ignore all the Ryan Murphy isms in that show.
He always makes it a bit, a bit campy, like.
Yeah, the Tumblr crowd.
Yeah.
He's like the Tumblr like director, writer, whatever.
I mean, American Horror Story is that
normal people scare me.
Yeah. You see it progress throughout the seasons, where it starts as a cool horror thing, and then it's we're just
Gen
gay
Z.
vampires that have orgies.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah, because you said the new what's it called, American Horror Stories.
Yeah,
the new one. You said it's nothing but that, where it's just the worst aspects of the original show, amped up to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy. I don't know. He's
But yeah, I have to admit, the show, it kept me watching. It was good.
Have you finished it?
Yeah.
Cool. How many episodes is it?
10.
Oh, okay.
But it does it in a way that's different. It's a minor spoiler, but it starts.
I mean, it's a real thing, so it's okay.
But the first episode, the whole episode is.
It's him getting his head caved in.
It's him getting caught.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool, because I thought it was going to be first episode is him getting caught, and then aftermath. But it does the opposite. It's first episode, the whole episode is him getting caught, and then the rest it goes all the way back to when he's young, and then builds up. Which I just thought was a cool way to do it.
Yeah. Structurally.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mindhunter?
I haven't, but
you should. It's sort of the same thing, where there's a lot of real serial killers portrayed in that, and the way the actors do it, same thing where you look and interviews and that, and the mannerisms, everything is spot on. Where some of these actors are unrecognizable, and it's also there's no Ryan Murphy isms there. It's a very dry procedural show where they're sort of, because it's about the FBI defining serial killers, where there was no terminology or psychological understanding of serial killers. They come up with the name serial killers in the show. Before that, they call them sequence killers. And the FBI's approach is if they kill lots of people, they're just a weirdo. And it's about the people that are no, but let's why do they do that sort of thing?
Right.
And I think it does a good job at being not exploitive in the way it depicts, because it's not we cut to these real serial killers reenacting real murders sort of thing. It's sort of they interview him in prison and stuff, and it's David Fincher in it. He's made the best fictional serial killer movie, or one of the best fictional serial killer movies, and one of the best real serial killer movies. Fincher is so comfortable in that subject matter, where it doesn't feel Zodiac doesn't feel it's reveling in
not at all
or bigging up the Zodiac killer as a concept. It's more about the people that get obsessed. I think that's what Fincher's so good at. Seven, you don't even see Kevin Spacey until the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so Mindhunter is Fincher's a key part of that show. The only thing is, it was basically meant to be 5 seasons, and it's
does it get cut short?
Yeah, it's 2, and it just ends. It's a bit it's even worse than Hannibal, because Hannibal ends, and you're oh, but at least the ending is kind of satisfying.
It's kind of open-ended.
Yeah, as an open ending, you're no, it makes sense. Spoilers for Hannibal. The two of them dying together isn't a bad ending to that show. Will Graham finally giving in to his serial killer tendencies and killing the Tooth Fairy with Hannibal, and then killing Hannibal and himself is not a terrible ending to the show. Obviously, it's not what they intended, but
it works.
I was gonna say
it does the job for what it was.
Yeah. There's things in there it's a shame we don't get any closure with Lawrence Fishburne and characters like that, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas Mindhunter is literally basically a cliffhanger ending for every character.
Really?
Where you're sort of No. And there's so many things like, there's this one character we keep cutting back to that is a real life serial killer, but they've not killed yet. And you see them like getting more and more deranged. But then the show ends. So it sort of feels like a random person you'll cut to for like, and I think they even said like, yeah, we weren't even going to have him kill anyone until like season 4.
How many seasons are there?
2.
Why did it get cancelled?
Too expensive for Netflix.
Damn.
Because it's like a period piece in it, and it is. It's a very niche thing. Like, whilst it is like real life serial killers and people love serial killer stuff, as I said, it is very dry. Where it's like, here's the people delving into the psychology and interviewing them. Like, it's not a sexy. They're not chasing through the rain to catch. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's a very dry, bland show from that perspective, in a good way, I think. Like, but I see why it wasn't a big hit with audiences.
Yeah. I mean, people now, they just don't have like the attention spans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like everything has to be like a set piece. Like,
yeah, and
building
it
up
has to
and
be like sexy
shock
actors
factor.
doing
Yeah.
sexy things. Or yeah, like you said, shock factor. Like, oh my god, I can't believe they put that on screen.
it is like going back to the Jeffrey Dahmer thing though. Like, I can't believe some of the stuff that he got away with though. It's like, in a way, I'm glad it's like re-brought it to the surface. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Quite fucked up. Like the one of his victims, like the 14-year-old boy.
what,
like,
the one where the police?
like hand him back to him,
Yeah,
and he's like visibly high and like,
Yeah.
bleeding.
yeah. But because he's like a black child, they're like, oh, I'm sure it's fine,
Yeah, like,
and like just don't give a shit. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I'm into this. I want to get, because I have very strong feelings about it. I think more people being engaged with this stuff is potentially a good thing, in the sense of like, these terrible things happened, and I think more people should know they happened. Because like you said, like, it shocked me how few people knew who Jeffrey Dahmer was.
yeah,
Like
to a major extent. Where it's
yeah, like same with like a Ted Bundy or whoever you want to delve into. But it is like, man, at what cost? You know what I mean? Like, seeing the people like thirsting over Jeffrey Dahmer or making jokes about it, especially when, in the grand scheme of things, it's very recent, and like the families of the victims are still alive.
Oh, his dad is still alive.
Yeah, like I find that stuff quite.
My thing is, it's like now, people just like
Don't care.
That, but it's like people are so what's the word? Where like
Desensitized.
Yeah. To everything though, like it's not just this. It's like you could go on TikTok, and you could see someone like with like no arms. And like people in the comments are just like taking the piss. Like, people just. It's in like all media now where like people just don't care.
Yeah,
it's
I mean
like,
it's like that sort of like ironic detachment. Where it's like when someone jokes, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer would have caught me. Did they mean it, or are they just saying something because they know it will get a response?
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones.
Yeah.
I know the very idea of joking about it is wrong, but like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure they don't actually, they don't mean it, but like you say, just the idea of him kind of becoming like a topic of conversation in that sense.
Shout out to the guy that snuffed him.
Is
that in the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
They give it time to shine.
That's hilarious. When you look back on it and people are like, we have no idea why this black man killed a guy that predominantly preyed on the black community.
Yeah.
And you're like, I wonder why.
That's mad.
But like, that guy is still alive and in prison. He got 2 life sentences for that. Not that the system's corrupt.
No, it's fucked. Like, it's just, I don't know. It is conflicting.
My thing is, because I like some of these, like I like Zodiac. That's a fantastic fucking movie. I think Ryan Murphy's the wrong choice for this subject matter. Personally, I think I get that in terms of the success, he's the perfect choice.
No, yeah. No, absolutely.
But as an individual, I don't want to see sexed up.
No, I know.
Like, that's my opinion. Me personally.
I agree with you.
I said that's probably what made it so big.
In its defense, like, it's nowhere near as like sexy and shit as his like other projects, which is like was going to be a given.
Yeah,
like, American Horror Story, just like, you know, that's what it's known for now. But like, I get what you mean. And like you were saying earlier about Fincher, it's
the opposite of his style.
Everyone in Zodiac, every single character in Zodiac has like a negative outcome.
Yeah, film. Literally. Like Jake Gyllenhaal like ruins his life.
Like Robert Downey Jr. is like a fucking washed up alcoholic. And
Mark Ruffalo only gets a good ending because he gives it up.
Yeah.
And even then, it's sort of like, should he have? You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole crux of that film, is about being obsessed with serial killers and like, why are you? Is it because you're drawn to them? Is it because, like, what is it? I mean, this is why Mindhunter is so good, because it's all about that. Like, one of the main characters, the whole thing is they're like, do you actually care about stopping them, or are you just like obsessed with them?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, what? Why are you like? There's a whole thread where he's trying to get an interview with like Charles Manson, and the other people he works with are like, why? Like, he's not really he did a cult. That's not really relevant to our serial killer thing. You just want to meet Charles Manson to say you did it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff like that. It's why the show's so good.
But it's like people like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker? Like, their names at this point, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and admittedly, going back to like Ryan Murphy, there's like an American Horror Story where one of the seasons is like based in a hotel, and there's this thing called Halloween's Devil's Night, where on Halloween basically spirits can roam.
Okay.
And they like all have a dinner party, and it's like Richard Ramirez,
John
Wayne Gacy.
I thought you were going to say the twist is it's that, what's it, something Holmes, where he was a serial killer who set up like a fake hotel in like the early 1900s in America, and he killed like 200 people.
That's who Evan Peters plays.
Fucking hell! God damn it!
He's the main.
For fuck's sake,
He's
Ryan Murphy.
like the main character of the show.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
But it's him, Richard Ramirez, John Wayne Gacy. I can't remember if Dahmer is there. I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer's there.
He was saving him.
He's saving him.
I've got a Jeffrey Dahmer fucking idea, all right.
But that's the idea. Like, the hotel is that hotel.
God damn it. Okay.
But they like make it's in a way it's a bit cringe. They like try and make like the Night Stalker like cool. He's like walks around like with like swagger and like shades and a leather jacket, and he's got like this fucking thing on his palm. Like,
right,
what's the sigil that you fucking?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah,
I don't know. I think it's such a true crime in general as a genre. It's such a dicey thing. Like, it's very hard to, like, wherever you personally draw the line, I understand. Like, I understand people that are like, I don't engage with it at all on any level because it's wrong. Like, I see, I'm not that hard line. As I said, I like movies like Zodiac or other things like that. My
thing is whenever you make these things into a drama, you're always going to have to change stuff, which like 90% of the time is disrespectful to like the victims and families. Like, going back to the Dahmer show,
they've all come out against it and said like it re-traumatized them.
And like one of the victims, they just straight up like create like a made up story for him. Oh, no way. It's like, in real life, he basically just meets him on a night out, drugs and like the usual. But they like, in the show, they like make them lovers. Right, I see. And then he kills him. So like, I can see where like that's just it's taking liberties. Where it's like, too far. Because if you was the family, you'd be like, but I. Do you know what I mean? There was never. You know, but because that's the thing in any adaptation, whether it's from like a book to a movie, whatever, you're going to change things because like it's a different medium. Of course. At the end of the day, if you wanted a dry recreation of whatever, you'd watch a documentary. So I get that, but when you
involve like real people, it becomes quite distressing. It's why, like, I think something like, this is going to sound like a very bizarre comparison, but like the Lincoln movie that Spielberg did, there's a whole thing where basically they bribed a lot of like state senators in real life, but they didn't know who. They just know it happened. And so rather than like besmirching like real people that existed, they like make fake people up.
I think that's the best way to do it.
I think maybe if they wanted to include this like love story, I haven't seen the show, so I can't comment, but maybe they should have done that, where it's like a fake victim.
Yeah.
Where it's not a real person, but you can go, well, they're inspired by this person and this person. We sort of merged them because like for like, the story.
Because the thing is, it's like obviously like it's there for like an emotional response from the audience.
Yeah.
Like the whole episode, it builds them forming a relationship, and then bang, like Jeffrey kills him. So the first thing I did was like I looked him up. I was like, oh, like, you know, like that was the actor, great performance, blah blah blah, great story, like how sad. So I like looked it up to like read more about the person in real life, and it's just like no, like none of that was real. We just
I mean, even stuff like Zodiac does the same thing. As much as I love that movie, you can point at it and go, I don't know about some of this. Yeah. Like, admittedly, there I don't really have much mercy for the person they pin it on because he was a paedophile.
Yeah.
Whereas in real life, he probably wasn't the Zodiac killer. But you know, as I said, I don't really have much pity for them pinning on that guy because either way, he was a convicted paedophile.
Yeah, for
real. But yeah, as I said, it is always a dicey thing, especially with something where like people did die. It's not like you're inventing it for a random thing.
Yeah. But like undoubtedly, we're gonna get like another 4 of these shows.
Oh yeah, I mean, because these already exist, by the way. Like this is a big subgenre of like straight to DVD horror. Is like Dahmer, and it's like a slasher movie, but it's a real thing, and they're like really cheap, tacky, and tasteless. But now that this has had the debut it's had, you're right. Like we're gonna get like Gacy, the show,
and the thing is, like, people are gonna be asking
HBO,
for it.
HBO Max.
It will be though. Like even if it's just Netflix, we're gonna get at least like
because all the other streaming networks want these numbers.
Yeah.
So Amazon Prime are gonna go, we need a serial killer. It's like we've seen with the superhero things.
But the fucked up thing is gonna be like, all you have to do is like walk into a board meeting at Netflix and be like, well, the fucking Jeffrey Dahmer show did this many numbers, so why aren't we doing this for like every other famous serial killer?
Let's do a fucking like John Wayne Gacy show or Ted Bundy show.
And like whatever. The thing that's fucked up about the John Wayne Gacy thing is it feels like they put him in the show.
It's like an Avengers style.
No,
teaser.
but for real, it's like they're trying to set up a spin-off.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's so random in the show. Like
I was gonna say, I was surprised when you said it's in there. I was like, what?
It's so random.
What connection? Do they have a connection?
No, like
it's not like he inspired him or something.
No.
Okay.
It's just he's in prison. There's like genuinely there's not like a major connection, and then it just cuts to like. At first, I was like, oh. Because I didn't know it was John Wayne Gacy. I was like, they're showing the impact of Jeffrey Dahmer, of how like there were copycats. But it's just, then you see him in the clown shit, and it's like,
right, because that's iconic.
Yeah. And then it's just him doing his thing, and then, So like, it felt like they were trying to set him up for like another show.
I see. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I recently watched a far less controversial thing. I watched The Sandman.
Netflix.
Yes.
Good.
You haven't seen it, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Halfway through the first episode, I realized something where I was like, I didn't need this.
Right.
The Sandman, a bit like Watchmen. With Watchmen, I have the thing where I'm like, it's perfect. It doesn't need like the comic. It doesn't need to be adapted. It already exists in its perfect form. Like, I don't need any changes. I don't need additions. I don't need to see it move. Like I have that with some books where I'm like, I don't need a movie of this. The book is perfect. That's what it was designed. where we were talking about video game movies last pod, same thing. Some video games, like I personally don't need like a Call of Duty video game or whatever. Like some things, they work in the medium they were made for.
Yeah.
And I realized halfway through this first episode of Sandman, the Sandman as a comic is perfect. It is what it is. That's all it ever needed to be. That being said, if you are going to adapt it, it's a pretty perfect adaptation. It's fantastically cast, shot, directed, written. Some of it is literally basically word for word the comic. Like,
right.
It's just a fantastic show. And at the end of the day, if it gets more people to read The Sandman, which I know it's doing, because the comic shop I frequent, my dad asked about The Sandman, and they said we need to order it in because so many people have picked up the volumes. You need to tell us what we want, what you want, and we'll order it in for you.
But it's already like when I went to HMV, they're doing that thing where it's like they like reprint the comic with like the Netflix live action.
Yeah.
And it's like the hit show, you know, the comic.
Did you pick any of it up?
I haven't, not yet. I was tempted. I haven't seen the show. I was like, should I read it first?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Sometimes I have that when like a movie comes out, where a lot of Stephen King stuff I have that where I read a lot of Stephen King. I'm like, should I watch like Doctor Sleep?
Yes.
When it came out, I was like, should I watch Doctor Sleep or should I read it first? I decided on reading it because in general I prefer to see the original thing and then.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. Where sometimes you're like, oh, but it's out and people are talking about it. But yeah, it's a fantastic show. Like the casting is like perfect for every character, where I was like, this is straight off the page. Where I know people are like, oh, they changed their race or whatever. Fuck that. The acting of all these characters is like mwah.
Top quality.
Where I'm like, if this has to exist, which it does, because Sandman is like one of the most iconic DC series ever published, so they were inevitably going to adapt it.
Yeah.
If it has to exist, I'm glad they made it, number one, with the original creator heavily involved, and number two, like, as good a representation as it is. Where I'm like, number one, I hope this pushes more people to read the comic, and even if it doesn't, I'm glad they're not getting a shit experience. Where it's like, if someone's like, I've only watched the Halo show, I'm going to be like, bruv, that's not a good representation. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that it happened. So I hope we get a season 2. I don't think we will.
Which is surprising.
Yeah. I think this is why streaming is failing right now, because you can be number one for like weeks on end and still not justify getting a second show.
Which is so like crazy to think about.
There's a great a show I watched recently called Barry. I've told you to watch it. Where it's sort of about this hitman that decides he wants to become an actor. They do such a good like parody of this, where one of the characters, she gets like a show on like a streaming network and it debuts at like number 1, is on the homepage, everyone loves it, and then like the next day they're like, we're not renewing you because it didn't hit like the right taste clusters, and they like parody it so well, where I'm like, I feel like, what's his name, SNL guy, Bill Hader. I feel like Bill Hader went through this and like knows the ins and outs of this industry so perfectly that he parodies it like
to a T.
Like just the way the like chairman is like, we wanted a show that's but this show is more There's so many moments like that where I'm like, I feel like he went through this and he's like obviously exaggerating it for comedic effect, but probably not that much.
It's just so like, it's so mad to think about how like so many films get sequels that don't need sequels, or so many bad films get sequels.
There's like 8 Transformers movies.
Yeah. But then it's like the one time you get something good, you know, for like so many different reasons, it's like we can't renew it.
Yeah, like season. Even if it's not for like reception wise, just for contract, like Daredevil. It came out, everyone was such a fan of it, and it like just. Sorry, contractually we can't make more. Like so many things like that where you're like, bro, what?
Or Hannibal.
Yeah, Hannibal. That's like, I feel like the start of the like new era of that, because that's just before streaming.
Yeah.
And that's like the main show I go back to. Where that came out now on Netflix, that probably would be like a smash hit.
Yeah, you'd have so many people first over Mads Mikkelsen.
I was gonna say, it's so like that. It's weird how much I like that versus Ryan Murphy's style, even though they're not too dissimilar. Where that does like Silence of the Lambs, and that isn't like a sexy thing. I know Hannibal and Clarice kind of have a
but this is like, you know, like erotic,
stylish in a way that I find Ryan Murphy isn't. It feels less.
Yeah, like
Ryan Murphy has a style. I just mean like cool in a way. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like
in
what's his name? Who does Hannibal? I can't think of his name. But say what you're saying while I'm looking it up.
In his defense,
Brian Fuller. That's who I'm thinking of.
Like Ryan Murphy early on, like American Horror Story, I know like now it's like kind of looked at as like just a fun like throwaway thing. Like the first 2 seasons, I would like argue they're pretty good.
Yeah, like, I think the thing is, it's a bit like we're talking about with Eminem. It's hard to go back to.
Yeah,
because you see the things that will get worse. You're sort of like, oh man, this is what he would exaggerate. Especially
like the second season. The second season is like it's as far horror inspired and stylish as Ryan Murphy gets. Like,
and we don't have a lot of horror shows, so you sort of have to get what you're given. You should watch Yellow Jackets. That's a fantastic show. That's very horror and really? It's about these. So it's set mainly in the 90s, where this soccer team, this girls' soccer team, their plane crashes in the woods. And at first you're like, oh, okay, so it's like Lord of the Flies or
Lost.
Whatever. Yeah, well, Lost is more like supernatural, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, oh, okay, so they crashed and probably ate each other. That's what you think the plot is. But then you also get the modern plot where the survivors are growing up, and it's sort of about their lives, where they get rescued. You know that 2 years, it might be slightly under that. A little while after crashing, they get rescued, and the survivors never tell what happened. And it's sort of these 2 timelines where we keep cutting back and forth, because I don't want to spoil it. There's a thing in the modern timeline that sort of draws them all back together.
Right.
And then you have like the 90s timeline where you see them crash and this.
It's called Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, because that's their like football team.
Right.
And it's so good. Because at first when I started watching it, I was worried that it was going to be, because I was like, oh, it's about this teenage girl soccer team that crashes in the woods. I was sort of like, is it going to be a like Ryan Murphy style, like very, but it's so grounded, and it does get weird. There's a lot of weird stuff in there, but it like earns it so well. And there's this one sequence that is like the creepiest thing I've ever seen on TV, where I was like, what the fuck is that? And yeah, the actors are really great. It's got, I can't remember her name. She played Wednesday Addams in the 90s Addams Family movies. She's fantastic in it. She plays such a weirdo. And yeah, it's so good. It's easily the best horror TV show I've seen. Because, as I said, there's not a lot to pick from.
To be fair, though, like now that you say it, like as far as TV shows go, no, there ain't.
You know, it's mainly kids stuff like Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, or I mean, that is old, obviously, but also older stuff like what's it called, Tales from the Crypt, like anthology stuff is normally what you get. It's very rare you get a show that's like horror and is like just a show.
A story that plays out.
Yeah,
TV
over multiple seasons. You know, you don't have like the Breaking Bad of horror shows where it's just sort of a story.
Because even like the ones we've mentioned, like American Horror Story isn't really. It kind of like phases out of horror.
Yeah, exactly.
That
you know, Scream and stuff like that is very much the Tumblr style. That's the thing. A lot of the horror stuff we get is too self-aware and comedic for me, like Scream Queens, Scream itself.
But like, it's because Ryan Murphy like grabbed.
I was gonna say
he took advantage of like an area where no one was doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like you either watch his stuff or you watch nothing.
And then all the people went, "Oh, that American Horror Story was like the biggest show ever for a while.
Let's do that."
Yeah. Or I guess The Walking Dead.
Kinda.
But that's not really horror to me in the same. I know it's about zombies.
Yeah.
But to me, that is just more of a drama. And even then, it turns shit. Anyways.
Now that we've like said this, I'm surprised there aren't like Halloween, the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Because obviously they did it with Scream, and like, I've heard that's a bit fucking mixed.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, Scream has always been self-aware and kind of comedic.
Yeah.
Like, to varying degrees.
But like, imagine like a Nightmare on Elm Street TV show. Or
so much stuff like that. Or like, imagine you do like Friday the 13th, the show, and each season is like a different summer. Like a different summer camp.
It would work perfectly as well, because like the first film, like you don't even have Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'd be like the first season, there's no Jason.
Yeah, it's
and then like the after credits scene of season 1.
Yeah.
You just see the hockey mask or something.
Yeah, you know when they set him up.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't even get the hockey mask till the third movie.
So they
you could have him in the pillowcase, the potato sack.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but that kind of thing, I'm gutted we don't have more of it,
and I'm surprised they haven't, because like they've milked everything else except that.
It feels like such an maybe just because it's difficult to make something tense and scary.
Yeah,
like
to stretch
8
it out,
hours of it,
because usually it's like quick, cheap, cash grab, whereas like a season would require effort.
Yeah, it feels either very comedic or very anthologized. That seems to be the two styles we get.
Didn't you mention they're making a Hellraiser
movie? Yes, it's not a show.
Not a show.
That's out. Like it was a Fox movie, so I guess we'll get it on Disney Plus.
So is the new Halloween.
Apparently, it's great though. The Hellraiser. If you're a fan of Hellraiser, the one review I saw was someone saying, "I'm not a Hellraiser fan. Didn't really enjoy it, but it's like the best one since the first one." And I'm hyped. Weird sex demons.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy, that's your bag.
He missed the bag with Hellraiser.
Speaking of like Halloween films, I recently watched the sequel to like the newest Halloween.
Oh, film. Halloween
Kills?
Returns. Yes, Kills. What did you think?
I found it interesting because I like watched that and Halloween 2 back to back.
The original Halloween 2.
Original Halloween 2. And they're like very similar in the mistakes they make.
Yes, amazing.
Like badly similar.
Considering the first Halloween reboot, not the first Halloween reboot, the latest Halloween reboot, Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
Ignored Halloween 2, which is the first sequel to do that since the Rob Zombie reboot, which doesn't really count because that was a full-on reboot.
Yeah.
The first sequel to the original Halloween that ignores Halloween 2. And so it's amazing that for the sequel to that, they basically remade Halloween 2.
They made, and like every issue I had with the original Halloween 2, I had with Halloween Kills.
Yeah, where like the main character is like unconscious for half the movie.
It's it's shocking how you literally have a blueprint of like why people didn't like the second Halloween, and you're like, let's do that again. It was so nice. I had to do it twice.
And like I've never got why. In theory, it's a cool because Friday the 13th, the original run of like the first four movies does this, where each one is the next couple of hours. The funny thing people take the piss out of Friday the 13th after the first one is 2, 3, and 4. Apart from 2, technically take place the next day and the day after that. So technically it's Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th, and Sunday the 15th, technically. And so it's so weird to me that why make your sequel that? Like, there's literally no need to set the next Halloween immediately. Like, what reason did they have not to set the Halloween after? Yeah. Rather than, I guess, the 1st of November.
It's just, a lot of things just, like you say, just didn't make sense. Like, the thing I liked about like the first Halloween film is
the original or the reboot?
First, the original.
The original, yeah.
So many scenes were creepy, and Michael was originally like, he was creepy and scary because he was about in the daytime.
Yes.
Like, there's so many scenes like
he's a stalker.
Yeah.
That is a creepy thing.
When he like appears from the hedges in the daytime, you know, the car.
Yeah.
That shot of it like pulling up They're
when he's
walking.
outside the school, which it follows recreates so beautifully.
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah,
the old
yeah, it
woman
does.
like
Yeah.
walking.
But so much of that film was, this guy don't give a fuck. Like, he's about in the day. So the first L was like Halloween 2 was just set throughout the night.
Yeah,
Which I was just like, you kind of miss like some of the cool bits.
He's not a stalker anymore.
Mm.
You know what I mean? He's just a murderer.
Yeah, like he was straight up, like you say, just out here.
Yeah.
Gunning. But admittedly, I still enjoyed Halloween 2. Like,
Halloween 2 is okay.
Yeah.
I
didn't think it was.
It clearly shows. John Carpenter's talked about this a lot, where he was like, I had severe writer's block. I basically just drunk a lot and wrote that movie. Like, the twist doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
She's a secret sibling.
Yeah.
But my thing with the reboot is, when they got rid of that, I was like, you could do anything. Because the thing with every sequel to Halloween is it basically becomes he's the guy that kills his siblings or his relatives. And you're like, that makes him less scary. But the thing is, when they reboot with the reboot where they disconnect that and him and Laurie are no longer related, Laurie still is like integral to him. So it's like you might as well have made them siblings because they're still so tied together.
Here's what I think they should have done. I think he should have killed Laurie in the reboot.
One. Yes.
And just, we move on.
He's definitely doing that in the third movie.
Probably.
Because the trailer is just them fighting.
But like,
no other scenes.
Now it's like, the trilogy's done. Like, okay, whatever, you killed her. You killed her in the first one. It's like, boom,
different.
Yeah, we're doing something different now. And then, like I said, the sequel is literally just like, if they rebooted Halloween 2, it's so similar.
Yeah.
And
but
it's worse. Yeah.
I think Halloween Kills is one of the worst horror movies I've had to sit through in the past few years. I hated it. I was so bored.
It earns nothing as well.
It feels like they were, because the main complaint I saw a lot of people have with Halloween 1 is that by erasing every Halloween sequel, Michael Myers basically kills like 4 people. And so it feels like they were like, fine, I'll show you a movie where he kills like fucking 20 people.
And
it's like every single character is the dumbest character I've seen in a horror movie in a while.
So stupid.
It's like a parody of horror movie character. You know the meme of where it's like, if I was in a movie and I heard a noise, I'd run away. It's like these are like the opposite of that, where they hear a noise and they're like, let me dangle my neck out there. Basically,
it's so like when they leave the bar and Michael's in their car. Well, it turns out it's not Michael, but it's.
Oh no, I was thinking of the scene where he kills them all when they're in the car.
Oh yeah.
That's
and none of them get out of the car, and then
they have like 3 guns,
and none of them shoot.
Because I normally hate that in movies where it's like you're nitpicking the characters' decisions. Where it's like, I get under circumstances you don't think straight.
Of course,
this is like 8 or not 8 people. It's like 4 people in the car,
and they're all strapped up,
and they're all stupid.
One ain't popping the trigger. Come on.
No, the woman, is she the one he makes shoot herself?
Yeah, she walks away.
She
just disappears. Yeah,
maybe the dumbest sequence I've ever seen.
But she disappears from frame
because they know, they're like, this doesn't make sense.
And then she magically appears again with the gun, misses like 4 shots,
and then kills herself in the dumbest sequence.
That whole plot line.
That's the whole movie.
The whole plot line with the escaped asylum guy,
yeah,
who they push off the roof,
where it's like they're trying to make a commentary on mob mentality, and it's like, have you seen Halloween 4?
I haven't. No.
Okay, it does the same thing but way better because it's not as over the top. Where Halloween 4's the best Halloween sequel, by the way. Has better than any right as a 4th movie in a franchise has to be. And yeah, so much of it, I'm like, we did this in the new ones, but not as good. And that whole sequence with the penguin. Because that weird umbrella man, every time I see him, I'm like, that's just Oswald Cobblepot. I don't know what's going on here. It was so forced, and he's so blatantly not Michael Myers. I have a hard time.
Yeah.
I get you're trying to make a point about,
but he's short and fat. Michael Myers is tall and built. It's how would you even? I don't know.
It's so many things in that movie where I'm like, what happened here? I don't get it. like,
But you have like, you literally have evidence. This is where we went wrong. Like,
Yeah.
with 1 and 2.
I was gonna say
Let's
they
not do
clearly
that
don't
again.
like Halloween 2 because they ignored it.
Yeah. But
So why suddenly be like, we're gonna make Halloween 2? Is it hubris where everyone's just like, they fucked up with the hospital setting, but I can make a hospital setting booky?
yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I like the Bob Odenkirk cameo. Did you know in the opening sequence when it shows all the teenagers that Michael Myers killed, one of them's a picture of Bob Odenkirk when he's a teen?
No way.
Yeah, the guy with glasses. That's Bob Odenkirk.
No way.
Because I was on his IMDb and I saw he was in Halloween Kills, and I was like, I don't remember him in that movie. But yeah, it's just so... I didn't like the reboot at all, really. I thought it was just the bad version of like Force Awakens, like a Jurassic World, where it's just the first movie but not as good. But I didn't think it was... That's shit Halloween movies. Halloween has a lot of shit movies. It wasn't that bad. It was just kind of like, by being so close to the original, you just make me want to watch the original.
Yeah.
And once again, I think they missed out on a lot of that stuff where it's like, he's not about in the daytime. There, like... But this, like, dialed it up to 11, where, like, he's, like, supernatural in this movie, where he becomes, like, a superhero.
Oh, well, now it's, like, canon that he's basically the devil. Like,
which is weird, because they
embodied.
scaled it back so much in the first one, where it felt like they were like, no, he killed, like, 4 people. He's a dude.
Yeah.
And so it's weird, the sequel, they were like, he's a fucking death god, where he can, like, murder anyone and, like, powers up when he's being murdered. It's very weird. And, like, yeah, as I said, the writing just, like, I was like, is this a parody? Where, like, of bad horror... Like, what's her name, where she dies at the end? Laurie's daughter.
Yeah, where she looks out.
Why does she go upstairs? There's so many sequences like that, where I'm like, why is this character doing this?
Yeah.
Which, as I said, I will defend most horror movies to the end, where it's like, oh, come on, you're just nitpicking. But this was like a parody of that, where it's like, I'll see if you can defend this.
I didn't understand as well. It's like, the Force Awakens comparison works well, because it's like, you know, here's this new cast of characters who are clearly going to be like the focal point of the new trilogy. And then in the second one, they literally just like kill them all. It's like, so it's... Laurie versus Michael.
Yeah,
again, like.
and the granddaughter who I don't really care about.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, she's always been a bit shallow.
So it's... Yeah, I didn't really get... Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just had it on in the back. After like...
Yeah,
the
I was
first
on my
hour,
phone
I was
quite
like,
a bit
this...
of it.
Yeah, I was just
I
kind of
so
zoned out.
After that car scene, I was like, okay, this is what movie this is.
Yeah.
Because I remember when it came out, people that loved the first one hated it. So I was a bit like, maybe it is... Maybe I will prefer it. Because I was like, I didn't like the first one of the reboot. So I was like, maybe this is more what I wanted. And then, yeah, I got like an hour in and was like, this is... I don't know who wanted this. As you said, I was like... Because I hadn't seen Halloween 2 too long before it. And I had the same thing where I was like, why are we making the same mistakes?
Yeah.
Very, very strange choices.
It was weird. Because I literally, like, it was kind of back to back. Like there might have been a day or two between watching them. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why? And, like, Halloween 2 is just better.
Yeah,
so it's
like, John Carpenter's still involved there. And at the end of the day, John Carpenter's a fantastic director. Like, the guy that made The Thing and the original Halloween ain't going to miss that badly.
Although, why did they fuck up the film and the theme song in the second Halloween?
Do they?
It's like different to the first one. It's the same theme tune, but
is it a bit more like... I can't remember. I haven't heard it.
It's more like electronic-y.
I
don't know how to explain it, but I was like, why did they...
Because I know that's where the Mr. Sandman is introduced, which becomes quite iconic. But yeah, very strange setting. And at least I can give two... The thing with Halloween 2 is the hospital is the setting. And they do make it kind of creepy. It doesn't really make much sense how empty that hospital is, but they at least kind of make it a tense thing where you're like, Michael could be anywhere. And the scene when Laurie and him finally meet, it is at least tense. where he's like chasing her down and she's like, it's nowhere near as good as the first one, but there's stuff in there I like. Halloween Ends, or not Halloween, Halloween Kills, I was like, there's nothing here. Realistically, unless I'm marathoning all the movies, I'll never watch that movie again. Because it was just that bad, where I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, at least I can see myself watching the first reboot at some point.
See, I thought it was okay, the reboot. Like, I didn't love it, but I was like, you know.
As I said, there's a lot of good stuff in there. I think it just, the sequel lent into the stuff I really didn't like and added new stuff where it was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
the thing I don't get is, like, if you want to make him like the devil incarnate, yeah, there's like, you can't unmask him then. It's like, to me, that takes away from him being like a demon. It's like, you either, I don't know, do some fucked up thing where the mask doesn't come off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you, do you know what I mean? Because when you unmask him, then it's like, but he is just a guy.
It's also fascinating because Halloween did this already. Halloween's had so many sequels. They basically made every sequel they can. But Halloween 5 and 6, they established that Michael Myers is like part of a cult, like weird thing.
Oh, really?
And those are the shittest two of the shittest Halloween movies. So I'm like, were they a bit like what I was saying with Halloween 2, where they sat there and were like, we can do that better? Like, was it hubris, where they was like, oh, they made Michael Myers a weird cult devil incarnate thing, where it's literally, they're like, he has this tattoo that's like a star thing, and like those are the stars of like Satan or something. I can't remember what it is, but the Thorn saga is shit. And everyone acknowledges it's shit.
Yeah.
And so it was so weird to me that they're like, no, we'll show you. We'll do that he's the devil incarnate. Which, as I said, doesn't work with the one before where they scaled it back so much. There's only really one scene that I can think of where they played up the, like, or two scenes where they play up, like, maybe he is the devil. Where it's the scene where they pull out the mask in the asylum and, like, the wind blows, and where he dies and his doctor, like, revives him. Those are the only two scenes in that movie where they sort of play with the, maybe he's Satan.
Yeah. But this is like, now there's, you know, like you said, the guy takes licks.
He gets assaulted by like 20 people and then fights them off like it's like a Batman Arkham fight scene where like they attack you one at a time and you like click Y to counter each other. It's so real, bizarre. For real. And the guy that was talking all the smoke throughout the film, the bold guy. Tommy Doyle or Tommy Jarvis?
Tommy
Jarvis. It's Tommy Doyle in Friday the 13th.
He just don't do nothing.
He just stands there and goes, oh, he is the devil, and then gets smoked.
Like, come on, you were talking...
Played by Paul Rudd in those two shit Halloween movies I was talking about.
No way.
Yeah. One of his first acting roles. Fun fact.
What dub?
Looks basically the same. Shout out to him aging backwards.
For real, yeah. Paul Rudd don't age.
But yeah, not good movie. I think the main thing with a lot of the Halloween sequels is the second you get rid of Loomis, it loses a lot of... Michael's interesting because Loomis is his nemesis, I think.
Yeah, he like talks him up as well. He
he adds so much like gravitas and bookiness to what's otherwise just a bloke stabbing people. And it like Laurie in the first reboot kind of does that.
Yeah.
But where she's in hospital for like half of or through the whole movie, really, she never sees Michael in that movie, does she?
Not in Kills. No, not in Kills.
Nah. Cause she like leaves and yeah, because it's her daughter that like tries to slump him. Yeah.
No, because she's not there when they're doing the mob thing.
Yeah,
it's the daughter that.
So they can kill her later on. I don't know what they were thinking with that sequel, but it didn't pan out, I think.
But the third one does come out soon, so.
And they're hiding that movie. I'm not kidding. The trailer is literally in Laurie's kitchen and Michael and her are fighting. So either it's one or two things. Either that's very early in the movie and he kills Laurie and they're hiding the rest of the movie, or it's just a shit movie and they're like, please.
They need to make it like, to save this like new trilogy somewhat. They need to do something bold. If they do kill her early on, maybe that'll lead to
but
something
I'm
cool.
worried, like, who will that leave us with? Because at least Jamie Lee Curtis is a fantastic actor.
True.
Like, as I said, they already killed off her daughter, so you
they've
can't
killed
even
off
make
half
it
the
about
cast.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
genuinely, who's like, and there's no one from the original Halloween left because they killed the nurse and Tommy Doyle.
Unless it's the granddaughter.
But like that's it. Is my point. And as I said, I don't really love her as a character to begin with, so
Yeah.
that will be it. Because it doesn't her boyfriend die.
He gets fucked. He gets annihilated.
Slumped
like,
in the banisters.
Yeah. It was just disrespect at that point.
It's because in the first one he avoided getting smoked.
Mm.
It was his mate, innit, where he gets killed on the fucking.
But it felt like it was like, we've signed up these new actors, but they've all got like obligations to do other films.
Yeah,
so we need to like kill them off now. Because like, I don't know, I can't remember what he's been in, but the guy that plays the boyfriend, he's been in a few things recently where I was like, why do you just kill him now? Like,
yeah, I
don't know.
I think because people complained that he's in the first one so much and then disappears. Like he doesn't get killed or anything.
True.
Like, so I think they were like, oh, I'll fucking kill him, all right.
I'll kill them all.
I'll kill them all. Also, if you're making a horror movie and you kill the black person first, I feel like, just for God's sake, man, like, or she dies second, don't he? He kills the husband and then her. But either way, she's like the first slumping.
Wait, the husband black.
No, I mean the two people in the house, but you're thinking of the two in the car, innit?
Yes.
No, there's the two people in the house where it's the black woman and the white guy. They're kind of older. Michael's in like there.
Yeah.
And I was like, sake, like,
Of course, yeah.
as I said, the whole thing, I was like, are they doing a parody?
And what does he kill her with again? He like rips. What does he do? Fucking breaks her fucking rolling pin.
Yeah, something bizarre. Every kill in that movie is like so over the top.
Because he has the drone, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and it flies into him.
As I said, I feel like I was like, is this a parody? Where like every character's so dumb, and yeah, when like the black woman died, like immediately, I was like, is this a joke I'm not getting? And I was like, I'm not sure. As I said, I feel like if you're making a horror movie and you play into that trope, you should just immediately be like, wait, let's recast. I'm sorry, let's not play into this.
I do find it amazing. It's something like I will never understand how like it's the same with every single slasher franchise, where it's like it's such a cool idea. Like, because when you look at Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. All three of them are very different in terms of like the plots and the killers. Okay, like Jason and Michael are kind of similar.
Yeah, and like Friday the 13th does start off as a Halloween rip.
Yeah, but like at least the setting and
like one's a summer camp, the other's the suburbs,
and then like Nightmare is just completely different. But
yeah,
all three franchises like make exactly the same mistakes, and it's like no one seems to know how to handle the franchises.
Yeah, it's also weird. I thought we were going to get a lot of. When the Halloween reboot was as successful as it was, I thought a bit like how in the 2000s we got the slew of remakes where like everything got remade. I thought we were going to get that where lots of people do like a sequel to the original and that's it. I get with like Friday the 13th, the creators are suing each other and there's a lot of rights issues there, but why has Nightmare not had a comeback? Like Robert Englund is alive still. Why don't we use, even if it's just his voice, why are we not doing a sequel where like it's a sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and that's it?
Genuinely.
Or like the only thing I know we did that with was Texas Chainsaw and it looks so awful I refuse to watch it.
But again, like they're still making the mistakes with like you add Texas Chainsaw Massacre to that list.
That one is especially funny to me because number one, it predates Halloween. And number two, isn't even a slasher movie in the same sense, because to me a slasher is they hunt you, whereas Texas Chainsaw is more like Wrong Turn or something where you stumble into them. So I found it so interesting that every Texas Chainsaw remake has forgotten that's what makes it scary. The whole point of the original is you could turn the wrong corner in Texas
and fucking see,
and this Ted Bundy dude is gonna get you. Whereas, you know, Halloween's the opposite, where it's like this guy will just find you and stalk you for no reason in the original. Like, he just stalks Laurie because. And so, it's so weird that the sequels always forget that, where it becomes, we've got to be set in this one town and about this one family. And Yeah. Like you, I wish we did more with them, like on TV, movies, whatever.
In
Like,
different mediums. Like, speaking of which, have you seen the Texas Chainsaw game that's coming out?
I've seen like a tiny bit of it. I'm intrigued.
It looks kind of cool.
It looks like the Friday the 13th game where it's very faithful to the source material. And
but it's like different in terms of like the way it plays.
yeah.
It's like 3v3.
Yeah.
Which is...
Because it's like the whole family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is good because that's, once again, the appeal of the original Texas Chainsaw that a lot of the sequels forget is it's not just Leatherface. Leatherface is arguably the least booky of all of them. You know, it's sort of like if you made a sequel to Star Wars and forgot that Darth Vader isn't the head honcho of the Empire.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's still the Emperor and that above it. Like, it sort of reminds me a lot of that with a lot of the sequels where it's like the family are what brings Leatherface together. Is it's not just this booky guy that wears human skin and will kill you. It's that this whole family of them, of like these fucked up weirdos. So I like that the game is leaning into that, and as I said, looks very faithful to the original.
Yeah, but again, it's just, at least from a point, not Halloween, Friday the 13th and Nightmare, we just like, there's nothing from those two franchises.
The most recent Nightmare on Elm Street, I mean, both of them, the most recent stuff has been games, where like Freddy's in Dead by Daylight, and obviously until the rights issues, Jason had a game. So yeah, I think it's weird that those are the only things that have realized like these have a lot of like appeal. As I said, I can't believe no one sat down and went, Halloween made this amount of money by doing a sort of reboot Force Awakens style thing. Yeah.
Just straight to sequel, straight to a new plot.
Nightmare on Elm Street was this successful, so if we make a sequel pulling back some of the original cast, but it will also be a fresh cast mixed in of young hot actors, we'll make this it's very, and how sequelized Hollywood is, it's very weird that they haven't. And
the thing is, like, out of all of them, you'd think Nightmare on Elm Street, like, surely that's the easiest one to like soft reboot, because
literally he's an eternal dream monster
who could like he could turn up in anyone's dreams. Like, it doesn't have to be related to the first film in any way.
You could literally make it such a core plot point where it's like, I can believe no one would remember Freddy because like he's like an urban legend where like, oh yeah, in the 80s these kids died in their sleep in our town, and then, you know, he comes back somehow, however you would do it, and it's like, oh fuck, who even is this guy? And you could do same thing where it's sort of a remake of the first one where it's these people investigating who Freddy was and this and you can have a whole twist about who it is. Maybe like it's the kids of like the survivors from the first film, and like he's trying to get his revenge on that. Like, you could do so many things, and yeah, it's just sort of a missed opportunity.
No, definitely Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, stop. That's the most creative one. Dreams.
Easily, like, it's such a scary concept.
I'm amazed after Inception they didn't come out and go, yo, the Dream movie made this amount of money. We have a Dream franchise.
It's like, it's such an easy thing to make scary. Like, because you can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucked up. Like,
you have no power.
Yeah.
Whereas at least, like, Jason, I can be like, well, I won't go to summer camp. Or Michael, I'll be like, I won't live in Illinois.
You could make a film about Nightmare on Elm Street where Freddy isn't even present. It's just it's like fucking teenagers that are paranoid and believe in Freddy. So like they try to like stay awake and then they start becoming delusional. Blah 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 blah.
Have you seen New Nightmare, the movie?
I've seen parts of it.
That is the closest we've got to that concept where it's sort of the real world.
Because it's like not canon to the film.
Yeah, like it's about the actress.
Yeah.
I love that. That's probably my favorite sequel, I think. Where like, but that's the closest we've got to that, where it's like actually taking that creative idea of like tying it to like. It doesn't even, obviously there it is Freddy, but it's like a weird monster version of him. Where it's like, no, just the concept of like dreaming, and that is creepy.
But it writes itself. Like, come on.
You know, like, Yeah, I agree. I mean, even Dead by Daylight managed to do it in a cool way in the gameplay, where like he pulls you into the dream world and you're on your own and you hear the theme. And easily one of the best additions to that game was Freddy.
Yeah.
Like every time we've played against him, I've been like, this is so sick. Where like you'll hear the theme, and whereas the Halloween one was kind of just, oh, it's a dude with a knife.
Yeah. Whereas that, it's like it affected gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just Freddy Krueger, man.
Fumbling
Iconic.
the bags.
Yeah.
A lot of these horror franchises. So I was doing. It's cool.
Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2.
You played a beta? No.
I cannot say I have. I booted up my PS4 like the first time last week. Went to watch Netflix and realised it'd been so long they logged me out. I couldn't remember my login off the top of my head, so I was like, never mind.
I don't know how accurate this is, but I saw like a screenshot of MW2 on the PS4, and it's not looking good.
I was going to say, I've heard it's pretty diabolical.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. I'll just get a PS4.
To be fair, I did play the beta, and I was playing it on the Series S.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah, it's cross-platform, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how I played with
Yeah. Okay. Thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Like,
there's a couple of things I've seen. I haven't played it, so I can't give a diverse opinion on like details. But things I've seen that give me pause. No reload cancelling.
Yeah, no slide cancelling either.
Though, obviously, sliding is newer in COD, so I feel like I can get over that after a while. But the reload cancelling, I'm like, that's like COD's DNA. Like, I can't imagine playing the game without it.
Like, come on.
I'm
I'm hoping and I'm thinking they will change it. I mean, they've
changed things already, to be fair.
Yeah, and admittedly, like,
I think Warzone 2 is going to get a big overhaul.
I think so.
I have no evidence, but just the fact the reception was so mixed to it.
And admittedly, like you say, they have clearly been listening to at least some negative points. But for the most part, from what I played, I thought it was quite good.
As I said, or as we said last week, it does look like Modern Warfare 2019 2. Like, it's not like COD 4 to MW2 where different game, or Black Ops 2 to 3, or a couple of COD sequels where it's like it's so different, so radical.
But the thing that I like came away thinking positively towards was I wasn't like a massive fan of MW 2019's multiplayer. Like, I thought at times it was too slow.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Maps,
like we said, it was very sweaty. The maps
weren't great. Whereas this felt a lot more fast paced. I don't know if that was because it was the beta. Everyone was, just hopping on. Like, anyone was hopping on. Obviously, it was free to play, but it felt a lot more fast paced. From what I played, the maps were quite good.
Okay.
Admittedly, some of the maps were a lot bigger than the Modern Warfare 2019 ones.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was a negative thing.
Yeah.
The guns felt good. There's a new mode which is kind of cool. I think you like
hostage
it.
one.
That one, and one to do with cash that you like.
Okay.
But it basically plays like, what was that 2v2 mode on the
Gunfight?
It basically plays like Gunfight, but like a 5v5 version of it, which was like kind of cool.
Yeah.
And like, if you die, you can revive your teammates.
Oh, cool. I think I've seen a little bit of gameplay of that. That and the hostage one.
It's a bit like
what
that.
They were pushing.
Search and rescue mode from Ghost, where like if you pick up the dog tags,
yeah.
Except this time you actually revive them, like zombies.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was, from what I played, it was fun.
Oh, like, cool. Do you? I saw a take that I thought was quite interesting, where it's like they were saying the reason modern Battlefield has struggled is because the new Modern Warfare series is basically Battlefield. Do you agree?
I don't.
Where it's sort of very hard, not hardcore in the sense of like armor or something like that, but it's very much an arcade shooter that's trying to be as realistic as it can.
More strategic. Me personally, I disagree because like, like COD has become more skilled.
Yeah, more Less arcadey.
Less arcadey, yeah.
Because COD
I
has
think
always
that's
been a very arcadey shooter.
I agree with that.
That was the thing people took away. Like, oh, you kill 5 people and now you get a predator. What?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's always been the Mickey take of COD. Oh, your bullets, it takes 5 bullets to kill someone, but 1 knife. What? Sort of thing.
Like, yeah, personally, I disagree. Like, to me, it's still not, like, what Battlefield is. Obviously, I haven't played a Battlefield game since, like, they went back to, like, World War One or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, Battlefield 3 was the last Battlefield I played a bit of 4, didn't really click with it. I thought it was just a shitter version of 3.
Like, it's still...
I get the argument, but I don't think that's where COD is taking it. I think COD's looking more at, like, Rainbow Six Siege and
yes,
CS:GO.
Yeah, especially Siege with the new mode I just mentioned as well, where it's like they've clearly put an emphasis on like 5v5 modes, which are more tactical. Which
is funny because people's big criticism of Siege nowadays is it got too cartoony from the original run. So it's interesting that COD's sort of zeroing in on that.
But I don't play normal Call of Duty multiplayer and go, this feels like Battlefield.
Yes.
To me, Battlefield is like such a specific experience.
Battlefield is big, open. Whilst yes, more grounded than COD, it is still ridiculous because you're flying jets and helicopters and things.
Yeah.
But I kind of see the argument. I think Battlefield could benefit from grounding its rebooting, going very boots on the ground, very realistic from a certain point of view. So what Battlefield 3 did.
Yeah. The only reason I disagree is because when you actually look at like the fundamentals of gameplay, it still is arcadey. Obviously with like skill based matchmaking and stuff like that, like they're trying to make it where it's like the ceiling for like skill is higher.
Where do you land on that debate? Are you in favor or against?
I'm not a fan. Like,
you're not a fan.
To me, COD was something where like anyone could just hop on, and it's luck of the draw. You could be in a lobby where it's.
But I do think it might benefit less skilled people. I think that's the thing. Where...
Yeah, but chances are...
if you're like semi-decent at the game, you're going to end up in a sweaty lobby where you don't want to be. Yeah.
And like most people that play COD, especially now, because COD ain't... still massive, but it's not MW2 Black Ops 1 levels of popularity.
Yeah.
If you're playing COD...
I mean, we'll see, I suppose, because...
Maybe with this,
I mean, the best-selling COD is Black Ops 3.
True.
So...
But
I'm curious how this... Because Warzone blew up COD again to such a degree, I'm curious to see.
But I would like to say, if you're buying COD now, you know how to play COD. And you're like a decent level.
It's a very set gameplay style, where even MW 2019 isn't that different from a Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2. Like, it is, but it isn't. It's still, the fundamentals are the same.
I'd admittedly, like, that's not even, like, my major criticism of recent COD games. Like, when we've played, like, Modern Warfare 2019, even Cold War, I've never played that game. Fair enough.
I don't want him to besmirch my good name like that.
I've never gone, like...
Or we played the zombies, didn't we?
We did, yeah. We played the zombies. It was just the only thing you needed to play.
Only thing, and even then.
The first map was good.
Yeah. That was fun. That was the remake of Knacked again, wasn't it? Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Just zombies, pack it in. Give it a break. The best thing Modern Warfare 2019 did was have no zombies.
Yeah.
So it gave everyone a chance to breathe and go, okay.
But then, like, as a substitute, we didn't really get, like, a full mode.
Spec Ops was whack compared to the original Spec Ops. Survival mode was pretty whack as well.
But yeah, my thing was, like, in recent CODs, I've never gone, I don't like this game because of skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah. I was going to say, to be fair, I'm a bit worse at COD than you, so it hasn't really impacted. But then again, I've played a lot of sweaty lobbies, so maybe I am better at the game than I give myself credit for. I don't know. I would need to, like, think about it. I get the reason they keep it. Because, as I said, I think for entry level, it is good. The thing is, do you want more entry level players, or do you want more people that repeatedly play your game? Is the question.
Yeah, and especially now, games are leaning towards live service. We
yeah.
want players all year round. I feel like your better move is to keep your long-term fans happy.
Probably. Yeah.
Because like, let's not lie, that is like one of the biggest complaints of newer COD games. Maybe not the ones that are like that release broken.
I was
like
gonna say
Vanguard
the thing is, I think COD's had a bit of an identity crisis where it was every year a COD, and then Warzone hit and fucked everything up because that was the game. They should never have released Cold War. I don't know what was going through their heads. They should have given a year off and just gone, especially with the behind-the-scenes stuff where it seems like Cold War was assembled in freefall, a bit like Black Ops 4. Treyarch crumbling. They should have taken a year off after Modern Warfare 2019 gone. That was our most successful COD in a couple of years. Focused on that and Warzone. Warzone being their biggest thing ever, probably. And we'll do a year of Warzone. You know, COVID fucked up all our development cycle and this and that. You know, we're working remotely. We'll just focus on Warzone, push out updates, give it a year, and then you do Cold War. And then that also would have benefited Vanguard, because Vanguard wouldn't have had to be shut out in a year as well.
And the thing is, like, I think even from like a financial standpoint, they probably would have been better off if they did that.
Imagine Warzone getting wham updates, like huge changes because they could focus on it.
Yeah.
Fixes coming like that, like they had the world in their palm.
They did though. They did. Like obviously COVID helped blow it up, but
it's the only battle royale that came close to Fortnite in terms of popularity.
And like for a time it was bigger.
Yeah, because Call of Duty was a brand.
Yeah.
Whereas Fortnite was a new thing. That's the advantage they had. Because like PUBG was never as big as Warzone.
No.
Apex was never as big as Warzone. What else existed?
H1Z1.
Yeah. It's funny how everyone complains that like everything's a battle royale now. In reality, there's like 6 battle royales.
Yeah.
I think. Like it's really not a oversaturated genre in the same way that like after COD 4 came out, and especially Modern Warfare 2 came out, everything was like, we need a modern military team shoot. Everything had a multiplayer.
Or like zombies.
Yeah, zombies, horde mode. I'll give Gears of War credit for that. They did. But zombie Black Ops specifically like cemented it as like you need. Halo copied them.
Yeah.
Like Firefight and for a while there, everything had a horde mode. Whereas, like, I don't feel that way about Battle Royale.
No, I think that's because realistically, no one is touching Fortnite or Warzone.
But the thing is, they make so much money. Wouldn't you even want 10% of the money Fortnite makes?
I guess, but...
And stuff like Apex is still around. It's still quite big.
Yeah, to be fair, I'll include Apex.
I was going to say Apex is quite big, huge. Considering it did fall off for a while there, it made quite a strong comeback. I think it's probably bigger than PUBG.
I think it is, yeah. I think because PUBG was like one of the OG ones.
Well, and
then it just kind of got trumped. By
Warzone stole its thunder. Let's be real, because like the appeal of PUBG was like it's like Fortnite but realistic. I know it predated Fortnite, but
yeah.
The appeal was like, it's like the military version of Fortnite. Whereas the second Warzone dropped, it's like, why would I ever play PUBG? No offense to the PUBG stats out there, but come on. Like
Warzone in its like Verdansk state was perfect.
Fucked it up.
Like everything was perfect.
The second they handed it off to Raven, everything started falling apart. Because it's hard enough to balance one set of guns. Trying to balance 2 games worth of guns, and then 3 games worth of guns.
And it's interesting because it goes back to your point. If they didn't drop Cold War, they wouldn't have had to change the map and put in all the Cold War guns.
That's the thing.
Just from a marketing standpoint, where they wanted to market the new game, they fucked up. Like their biggest.
They fucked up the money at the end of the day, which is the one thing in Activision you don't want to do. Because that is a bit like EA. That's such a cynical, money-driven company. Yeah. The biggest hit they've had in years, really. Like the closest they've come to matching FIFA in terms of money made, because FIFA is like constant. EA just like lives off FIFA at the end of the day, like the money they make off that.
But like COD was in we've said it before, COD was in like a limbo state, whereas like what came before Modern Warfare, Black Ops 4.
Yeah, we'd moved away from the advanced movement, but like it had lost all identity. It was like, is it a hero shooter? No.
Yeah, because we went away from advanced movement, but we got World War 2, which not a lot of people liked.
Yeah.
And then we got Black Ops 4, which
was basically an advanced movement game that they removed the double jump from.
And they like managed to kill their most popular game mode.
I mean, Treyarch have never recovered.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real, because what Cold War? Like, I know Cold War is one of the best-selling CODs, but every COD is the best-selling COD. This is the thing. Like, when you compare them, so long as it isn't a new IP like World War II, Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, so long as it is Black Ops or Modern Warfare, if you look at sales figures, it's one of the best-selling CODs ever, because people go, I like Captain Price, or I like Sergeant Woods, and buy the game.
Yeah.
So, I think what I would be more interested in is looking at like how many people kept playing Black Ops 4, because I don't feel like it was as many as something like Modern Warfare stayed constant, where
True.
people were because of Warzone. To be fair, I won't lie, but they did make Warzone. It's not like someone else made Warzone and they tacked it. Like they
and it was
the gap.
It was built on MW's engine, MW's guns, gameplay.
I mean, the setting is from Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Like,
so you do have to give credit. It was
absolutely
part of Modern Warfare. Like, straight up, it was.
Yeah,
that's an extension of the game.
That's what crippled them for ages. Is everything had to be attached to Modern Warfare. It's why the next two games were made on Modern Warfare's engine, because they were like, we need it to tie into Warzone.
Yeah.
And then it's why I'm excited that Warzone 2, as much as I'm mixed on the actual game, is its own thing. They've said, no, this is a separate launcher. You download Warzone, because that way they can update it and do whatever over there. They don't have to worry about like, well, the engine we made it on was this and that, and we got to staple every COD. Because Cold War feels like a Cold War expansion to Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I'm like, it doesn't feel like Black Ops versus Modern Warfare 2, where those games released back to back.
It clearly was, though. Like, we need a game, so let's use Modern Warfare. And,
well, we know Sledgehammer had like a Vietnam War game that wasn't working out, and then they brought in Treyarch and were like, just make it Cold War.
You know, admittedly, like...
Or not Cold War, Black Ops.
I can't speak for the multiplayer, but Cold War, for what it was, you know...
The campaign looks interesting.
Campaign was fun.
You know Russian the Kremlin.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And the zombies was fun.
As I said, the one map we played looks cool. I think the thing is just zombies is so burnt out at this point, they need a break. Like, just give it a rest.
Yeah.
Come back.
I think what like genuinely put the final nail in the coffin was putting it in Vanguard.
Oh yeah,
they
absolutely.
like tried it. They're like, it's gonna be made by Treyarch.
I was gonna say that's what killed it, is saying Treyarch's back, and it was like, but this is. It looked so shit.
It was barely. It was like Black Ops 4 was bad, but this was like dog shit.
I think what killed Cold War zombies was they clearly shifted their resources to that outbreak mode.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't
good.
Oh, I
forgot about that.
Like, I'm sorry.
Why did they do that though?
Because they wanted Warzone,
but with zombies. It was like,
well, and we know they were working on Blackout 2, and then when Warzone blew up, they were like, we have all this shit we worked on.
That's a good point. Yeah,
just put zombies in it.
That's a good point.
And we had the same thing with what's it called? I forget what the mode was called. There was like that fake battle royale in Cold War that they released like a couple months in, where it's like lots of small maps you could play on, and then you play on one big map. I can't remember what it was called, but all the leaks came out, and it was like the file names were literally Blackout 2, and everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, I wonder what this came from."
But then my thing was like, why not just? I mean, it would have been a big ask, but why not just release Blackout 2 alongside?
Nah, I don't think they should have done that.
No,
because Warzone ran the world for a while there.
True.
Blackout never did that.
But it's just, instead of getting that half baked.
As I said, I think the best thing to do would don't make a game.
Yeah.
Take a break or keep making the game. Get a year longer to make the game. This is what they let Modern Warfare 2 do. Because that's why
weird.
Vanguard had to be shit out. Is Modern Warfare 2 was supposed to be released, and then they were like, we need another year, and they were like, sure, take it. Modern Warfare 2019 was so successful.
This is our last.
Take another year.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft is buying them now, and who knows what will happen.
Yeah, because they're talking about making it exclusive. I don't think
that.
I hope that won't happen.
That's bad for gaming. Microsoft buying Activision at the end of the day, because
I could always live with
Bethesda alone was big enough.
Yeah.
When Elder Scrolls 6 is announced as an Xbox and PC exclusive, I don't think there's much of an argument you can make why that's a good thing.
But can you imagine if they do it with COD? I don't think they will.
That will kill gaming. I hate to sound like that much of a COD shill, but
But
COD is like the franchise. That'd be like if FIFA went exclusive to PlayStation.
And the thing is, like,
or Madden, or
really,
one of those.
They're the only game that still does annual releases like that.
Yeah, it's them and Assassin's Creed, and even then, Assassin's Creed has taken a year out.
So it's like, and they've like put this emphasis on crossplay now. So it's like if you just now go,
that's where they're going to be like, well, PC and Xbox, because it'll still be on PC. Because Microsoft are big into PC at the moment. You know, we've seen it with Master Chief Collection. That's basically what revived that game, was the PC release. Is they fixed it so they could go, it's on PC, guys.
But surely you'd lose.
Minor tangent. I hate how broken it is.
What's that?
I've been playing through Master Chief Collection, all the Bungie Halos. I've got up to Halo 3. It's so broken.
Really?
Like, Halo 2 was always glitchy. So the glitches that happened there, I excused. Because I was like, I don't recognize these glitches, but there were glitches in the original. So sure. Halo 3, I started playing and I was like, these weren't in the original game. And I'm not like rose-tinted glass. It's like, I had this weird glitch where I was playing a campaign mission and every enemy I killed would like despawn.
No way.
So I couldn't pick up a gun. So by the end of the level, I was just meleeing every enemy because I had no ammo and couldn't pick any ammo up. And yeah, I was like, that was not... I would remember that happening in the original game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's MCC. Like, I'll be playing multiplayer maps and a weird glitch will happen where I'm like, that wasn't in the original game. It's such a shame because those games are so good. And then it's just like this it reminds you, it's like this released broken, like not even like glitchy. This released and was unplayable.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you fuck it up? These games already existed. How did you fuck it up?
Yeah, that's one thing I don't get either. Because like Halo 3 is like a straight port. They didn't even...
Well, they made it 60 FPS.
Well, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, COD... We'll see. This feels like the last like hurrah, because regardless of what happens, now Microsoft own them, so every game after this
is...
Because clearly when Microsoft is in the process of buying them, this exists. Like, this COD is done. It's everything afterwards. We'll see whether they stop yearly releases, whether they fucking milk the shit out. I don't know what their plan is. It could be anything. Whether they make it exclusive.
I mean, either way, obviously, given it's like... Now everything will be shifted back to Xbox, like beta access, maps, stuff like that. But
first release,
I wonder if they will pull anything like timed exclusives. But yeah, like, because I know with some things we're seeing like timed exclusives, where something will be exclusive to Xbox for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
I just can't see them.
It's a lot of money to turn down.
Exactly. Like, how much money would you miss out on by...
But is their argument we'll make more off the Xbox Series X
being sold? Yeah.
Because Call of Duty will sell systems.
Absolutely. But then, like, does COD lose its
global
reach?
Will it piss more people off?
Yeah.
Because will people go, well, I'm not buying it because fuck you.
And let's be real. If I only had a PlayStation 5 and they were like, COD's exclusive to Xbox now, I wouldn't buy an Xbox.
Yeah, of course. I'll be
not for
fuming.
COD. For like the next Elder Scrolls, maybe. Like, I'll hold my hands up. But
my thing is, all of those would piss me off so much, because it's not like Halo, where from day dot it's been Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
So I can't really argue. Or Spider-Man.
And to be fair, like gaming is different now, where you have to be careful because people don't have £500 to just drop.
That's what I'm
on
saying.
like a Series
Cost of
X.
living.
Genuinely though, so
Well, and my thing with all of those is those consoles are so hard to get. It pisses me off seeing exclusives because I'm like, well, but I can't just buy one. I can't walk down the street and buy a PS5 still to this day.
and they fucking up the price of the PS5. How fucking cheeky.
Shambles.
But
yeah, I guess we'll wrap up there. I think that's a good solid place. Some pessimism to end the pod with, but we'll see. Hopefully they don't. As I said, I reckon it's too much money.
I think COD is the one thing they won't. I think like Xbox will get hella exclusive stuff from COD.
I could see Elder Scrolls. I just can't see with COD.
Oh yeah.
Because Elder Scrolls it releases once every like 7
And
years.
is single player. Like
Yeah.
with the online reach of COD, because you got to bear in mind like
Warzone at the
Battle
end of the
Pass,
day.
Warzone,
Turning
COD
that money
points,
down.
all that you
And
get from
PS5s
PlayStation.
are selling better, so there's more players to buy your shits.
Yeah. But maybe they want to turn the tide.
Yeah.
So-
We'll see. That's the thing. We'll see the greed. That's what killed the Xbox One initially. Was greed.
Yeah.
It was them being like, 360 sold better, so here's our new console, which is shit.
But it's like it's a shit way to like try and make people buy your
Of course,
console.
it's fucking greed at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like, why don't you focus on making your actual IPs
It's
good?
the Disney
like
approach.
Halo.
It's what they've learned off Disney is Disney went, we weren't selling well in the male category. We'll just buy Marvel and Star Wars. Like that's all we need to do. We don't need to worry about making new IP. We'll just buy an existing one. That's literally been Microsoft's approach.
Yeah.
Oh, we're one of the biggest companies in the world. We'll just buy it.
But it's
We
like,
don't have a good fantasy exclusive. We'll just buy Bethesda. Oh,
Yeah.
our shooters are kind of flagging. Halo ain't hitting like it used to. We'll just buy Call of Duty's developer.
it's just shit to look at because like Halo ain't hitting because you're fucking fumbling the bag. Like
I was gonna say.
you fucked up the game from like an executive standpoint. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a shit way to try and make people buy your console.
As
You can only
it's
play
greed.
this. Yeah.
It's greed
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully it ain't that because they've been getting this players first.
True.
And Sony have copied them. You know, where Xbox have been like, our exclusives aren't Xbox exclusive. They're just not on PlayStation. They're on PC and Xbox.
Yeah, true.
And Sony have started copying them where, Spider-Man's now on
And God of
PC as
War.
well. God of War is. It wouldn't surprise me if we see Bloodborne announced. I reckon, like, we'll see more and more of that. Last of Us, is it already?
Who cares? That franchise is dead to me.
Big fan. Joel. Still need to. I'm gonna play Last of Us 2 one day, and that'll be the pod. We'll do a Last of Us 2 pod where I sit down and go, "Here's my thoughts on the game."
Thing is, I still recommend you to play it. Like,
I want to. Maybe Christmas, I might try and cop it.
perfect Christmas game.
Perfect Christmas game. Snowy,
Yeah, that's what you need.
murder.
Golf
What more
clubs.
do you need? Shotgun your boy to death.
But yeah,
Rip. That and Terminator, not Genesis was the new one. Dark Fate. Had they both shotgun my boy to death?
oh yeah.
I still haven't watched it, but I've had both of them spoiled. I've seen both clips where they get shotgunned and gone, what? Oh. We'll see.
We'll leave the fans with that though.
Yes, that's a wrap up for this pod. I hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. Make sure you give us a subscribe or follow on all social media with Don't Start a Podcast. And I guess let's try and be positive. Yeah, and yes, I've been Ben.
Aaron.
And we'll catch you on the next one.